Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Martial Arts Prodigy. Sorry, I'm Kryptonian. Chapter 81. That's all. Shinran herself got in between Yiren and the squad leader somehow. She felt like a big 120-watt light bulb. I bought a speed pass. Shinran didn't like queuing, so she raised the 3 small cards in her hand. The little rich woman belongs to yes. Do you really want to play this? Yiren looked at the endless jumping machine in front of him. What is going straight to the sky? In ancient times, this thing was called Tongtian Pagoda. Don't worry, nothing will happen. The squad leader took Yiren's dog's paw and encouraged him in this way. Shinran curled her lips depressedly. Reflect on the significance of being a light bulb. When Yiren got on the jumping machine, the squad leader and Shinran were on the left and right. It's too late to regret now. He blinked, and his clairvoyance ability was activated. It's good that none of these safety measures have rotted loose inside. Yiren tried to pinch it with his hands. With a click, a little finger print came out. This stuff is too soft, isn't it? Staff, look at this. The staff came over to check it several times with a look of surprise. Said there is no problem. In order to reassure Yiren, he even picked up a big iron rod that he didn't know where to take out. Bang the safety bar. Brother, take a look. There's nothing wrong with it, you can play without worry, the 2 older sisters next to you are with you. The staff spoke with an accent. At this time Yiren was trembling. He wondered, in case he gets excited when the jumping machine reaches the highest point later. What can I do if I break the safety measures with a slap? After all, when you are nervous, people have so much control over themselves. Gulu. Just like that, Yiren swallowed nervously and heard the sound of the machine starting up. The squad leader quickened his breathing with burning eyes. She looks very happy. Shinran had already begun to scream impatiently. The jumping machine rises higher and higher. 10 meters. 50 meters. 100 meters. At this moment Yiren was already dizzy. He looked down tensely. Everyone was so small that he could hardly see them. Don't be afraid, I'm beside you, hold my hand. The monitor's cold and gentle voice made Yiren calm down a little. He took the monitor's hand. Next moment, a sense of weightlessness came, and ear-piercing screams came from beside him. Shinran was relatively restrained. Yiren couldn't bear the screams of the girl next door. Bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. In the weightlessness, Yiren heard the sound of his own heart beating. He quickened his breathing. Vaguely, Yiren seemed to feel that there was something special about him. But I haven't had time to feel it carefully. Yiren suddenly felt a chill coming from his side. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. His pupils shrank. Shinran tightly closed her eyes while screaming. The protective measures on her chest have condensed a layer of faint hoarfrost. Hey, hey, at the terrifying speed of the jumping machine. It was difficult for Yiren's voice to reach Shinran's ears. But I'm afraid that if this continues, she will destroy the protective measures in front of her. It even freezes the inside of the jumping machine. Hello. Yiren grabbed Shinran's hand with a little force. Only then did Shinran wake up. She pursed her lips, her eyes were red, but she had controlled the cold air she emitted. Yiren dared not let go. And so on until the end. Good guy. Because she was worried that Shinran would damage the jumping machine, her spirit was always on her body, and Yiren was not so scared behind her. It's so scary. When the safety bar was raised, Shinran walked down limply. Only, she forgot that she was still grabbing Yiren so hard. Until Yiren coughed lightly. She belatedly exclaimed and let go of her hand. His eyes subconsciously looked at the monitor. The squad leader just pondered for a while, but said nothing, and looked away from Shinran. He grabbed Yiren with his backhand and interlocked his fingers. This is an action to declare that Yiren belongs to her family. Next item. Most of them do not have the stimulation of jumping off a building. The squad leader had a great time, showing a faint smile on the pirate ship, with his long hair flying. And a girl surnamed Chin screamed and grabbed Yiren's clothes. After the end, the legs are weak. But even so, she still enjoyed it. It perfectly interprets what is called. He cooks and loves to play. Hey, let's go play that and have a rest. Shinran licked the marshmallow. Looking at the haunted house not far away, his eyes lit up. Haunted house, should be fun. The squad leader also licked the marshmallow in agreement. Only Yi-Ren looked at the ice cream in his hand thoughtfully. He couldn't think of anything. Can this thing sell for 88? Did I get tricked? Should I also buy cotton candy? Oh, I'm counting on you. Let's go to the haunted house to play. Maybe it's because I got used to those exciting projects before. Chin-Ran subconsciously grabbed the corner of Yi-Ren's clothes. The squad leader showed a thoughtful expression. She's already thinking about it. Is my decision to invite Chin-Ran to play with me correct? Chin-Ran also seemed to realize that something was wrong with her behavior. After she hesitated for a moment. From Yi-Ren's side to the monitor's side, 743. It seemed natural, but it held the monitor's arm stiffly. Hey, shall we go play together? Quote. The squad leader couldn't help but tilt his head slightly. This girl Chin-Ran. For a moment, she was a little overwhelmed. Yi-Ren glanced at the haunted house, and the physical obstacles became transparent, and Yi-Ren built a physical model of the haunted house in their minds in an instant. He memorized every possible place where he would jump in the face and kill him. Chin-Ran bouncingly pulled the monitor. They go ahead. Yi-Ren followed slowly. He looked at the backs of the two girls, feeling a little deeply moved. Chin-Ran with short blue hair is very lively. The black and straight monitor is very quiet. It is clear that two people with incompatible personalities can walk together so harmoniously. No. How did she snatch the monitor away? Yi-Ren suddenly reacted belatedly. Originally, he was the one who hugged the monitor's willow waist all the time. Now it was Chin-Ran holding her arm. Why did I suddenly look like an extra guy? The haunted house is huge. But it is stipulated that only 4 or 5 tourists can enter at one time. There are mazes, puzzle elements, and task systems. There are 4 or 5 areas inside, and the key to the exit can only be obtained after completing all the explorations. Chin-Ran became excited after hearing the introduction. The squad leader is also in high spirits. After entering the haunted house, the first area is a cemetery, which of course cannot be a real cemetery. But it is very realistic. Wow, it's spooky, it's so cold. Are you sure it's not the cold air radiating from your body? Chin-Ran blinked blankly. Yes, it seems that it really came out by itself. The lively Chin-Ran languished at this moment, carefully shrinking behind the monitor. Are you afraid of ghosts? The squad leader was as calm as ever. While leading Chin-Ran through the cemetery, he asked casually. Well, there are no ghosts in this world, they are all fake. Really? The squad leader stopped suddenly in the middle of the cemetery. Her expression became gloomy, and a pair of empty eyes stared straight at Chin-Ran. Chin-Ran couldn't help swallowing. Are you okay? Don't scare me. Maybe it was because the squad leader's eyes were too piercing. Chin-Ran took 2 steps back, and when she looked back, Yi-Ren was gone. Be careful where you step. The squad leader's cold voice seemed to be buffed in the cemetery. Chin-Ran subconsciously looked down. A skinny, rotting hand grabbed her ankle at some point. Yeah, the girl screamed, covering her head in fear. And the squad leader. Then the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and he admired Chin-Ran's embarrassed appearance with a happy face. This is considered her punishment, who made her catch Yi-Ren on the pirate ship before. What happened? Yi-Ren stepped out from the side, still holding a severed arm in his hand. Chin-Ran finally stopped screaming. She covered her head in a broken voice again and let out a soprano. Hey, it's just a prop, it's fake. Yi-Ren had a headache and felt helpless. Chin-Ran raised her head with tears in her eyes, and pointed at the monitor. She was possessed by a ghost. She was so scary just now. Woo. Quote. Yi-Ren slowly made a question mark. And the squad leader tilted his head slightly, sticking out his little tongue cutely. Woo. Although after Yi-Ren's explanation, Chin-Ran already believed that the monitor was trying to scare her on purpose. But now she dared not approach the monitor anymore. The squad leader watched her huddled beside Yi-Ren with a headache. Does this count as shooting yourself in the foot? Okay, there's nothing scary about it, it's all fake, it's all props. Look over there, when you pass by, the ground will open and a corpse will come out. Really? When the 3 were about to leave the cemetery, the soil under his feet suddenly loosened, and the corpse with only half of the yen crawled out. At this time, the front door will open, but there is a dead end inside, we have to go to the door next to it. The two girls followed Yi-Ren with shocked faces. It's just that Shinran is the same on the outside and inside. The squad leader only looked at Yi-Ren with his surprised eyes. How do you know? Have you been here? No, I saw it. With the ability to see through, these little tricks to scare people are all imaginary. But it's time to solve the puzzle. Perspective is not so useful. The three of them looked at the roulette in front of them. Inside there is a dog, a rabbit, and a tiger. What does this mean? Yi-Ren made a confused sound. The squad leader pondered for a while, and suddenly his eyes lit up. She fiddled with the roulette, and with a click, a card fell out of the roulette. Collect 3 cards to enter the next area. Encounter where you need to use your brain. Both Yi-Ren and Shinran could only count on the monitor. While walking, Yi-Ren was taken aback suddenly. He found himself holding Shinran with his left hand, with his right arm around Xiaolu's waist, the class monitor. So natural. When exactly did it become like this? With extremely complicated moods, Yi-Ren and the others came to the labyrinth area. There are a lot of staff pretending to be monsters, don't hurt them. Yi-Ren glanced through the perspective. At least 7 or 8 staff members wandered inside. Especially you, Chin-za. I won't. When she said this sentence 2.4, no matter how you look at it, she lacked confidence. Although Yi-Ren can take them to find a way out directly. But that would be so boring. So he simply let Shinran and the squad leader lead the way. The fact that these forks are marked is supposed to be some sort of puzzle element. The squad leader's little hand touched the mark on the wall. And Shinran has already begun to lose her composure. We've lost our way. What to do, what to do? We can't get out anymore. The squad leader thought for a long time but failed to find inspiration from the mark. For a moment, the eyes of the two girls. It all fell on Yi-Ren. Okay, come with me. Yi-Ren didn't disappoint them either, and led the way with a calm face. But 4 or 5 minutes. The three successfully passed through the circular maze and found the exit. Wow, how did you do that? Do you have clairvoyance? The little girl guessed casually, and she was actually right. Yi-Ren just shrugged. The squad leader also looked at Yi-Ren with a smile on his lips, and said softly. You are awesome. Yi-Ren was calm on the surface, but he was already laughing inwardly. Soon, after exploring the area behind, the three of them were almost at the exit of the haunted house, but a person had to be sent here to get the key. The other people go to the next door to operate the mechanism, and cooperate to open the container with the key. Who is going? Yi-Ren looked at the two girls. All go. Shinran took the initiative to invite Ying, and she happily walked into the room with her little hands raised. This was supposed to be the final level. Just take out the key and it's over. So it's not that difficult. But when Yi-Ren and the others pressed the button and waited for a while, they couldn't wait for Shinran. He sensed something was wrong, and frowned to see through it. There was no sign of Shinran in the entire haunted house. Oops. Yi-Ren's heart sank. Shinran, there should be no accident. The squad leader showed a puzzled expression, and after Yi-Ren explained the situation to her, she also became nervous. Shall we call the police? 28 inches, it's too late. You wait for me outside first, and I'll save her. After finishing speaking, Yi-Ren closed his eyes and raised his ears, held his breath, and caught Shinran's voice in an instant. Found it, over there. With this superhuman body, Yi-Ren directly smashed through the layers of buildings. Things happened in a hurry, and there was no time to get out of the exit. Let me go. Shinran lowered her head weakly, and was moved at high speed by a strange man under his arm. She would have happily gone to get the key. As a result, a shot of a muscle relaxant was shot into her neck from the shadows. Now her body is not in control. It is also impossible to condense the chi in the body to stimulate the power of the blood. The only thing that can be done is to speak up. Hee. The man let out a mocking low laugh. The speed is even faster. He was running towards a place where no one was there, and he was getting farther and farther away from the haunted house. Shinran couldn't help feeling a surge of despair. At this time, there was a bang. The outer wall of the haunted house was shattered. Yi-Ren kept a straight face, and met Shinran's eyes from a distance of several thousand meters. There was another loud bang. Shinran only felt a blur in front of her eyes. Next moment, he soars into the air. The feeble body turned several times in the sky, and was finally caught firmly by Yi Ren. Are you all right? Looking at Yi Ren, who was close at hand, Qinran's eyes turned red. When I was most afraid, he did appear. Yi Ren glanced through Qinran's body with a glance, and he was relieved when he found that there was nothing serious. The squad leader also ran towards this side at this time. She is light. The moment the toes fell to the ground, the whole person flew 7 or 8 meters away from the ground. She gave it to you. Yi Ren handed Qinran to the monitor to take care of him. He walked towards the murderer who kidnapped Qinran. Ahem. Because he was afraid of hurting the class monitor, Yi Ren lost all his strength just now. But even so, the man was still to the point of almost falling apart. At this moment, he clutched his chest and struggled to get up from the ground, and he clearly knew that. I broke 4 or 5 ribs, and I guess I'm going to be cold. Call. Seeing Yi Ren approaching, he suddenly opened his mouth and exhaled a scalding flame, covering several square meters. Orange-red flames engulfed Yi Ren in the blink of an eye. But Yi Ren made it through the flames unscathed. The clothes on his upper body were scorched, and his skin was stained with fast-extinguishing flames. The murderer's pupils shrank. Those eyes were full of horror and fear. How can anyone not be afraid of being burned? The human body can't last 5 seconds in such a sea of fire. The skin will be dissolved, and the muscles will be turned into coke. Even supernatural beings are no exception. However, Yi Ren greatly exceeded his expectations. Fire! Bang! Yi Ren landed an uppercut on his jaw. Despite the effort, but his jaw was directly shattered, leaving only a bit of skin connected to the upper jaw. The murderer fell to the ground, twitching and wailing from the excruciating pain. At this time, a large number of Special Affairs Bureau operatives surrounded the area, and aimed their guns at the murderer on the ground. Thank you again, Yi Ren. The assistant of the Forest Bureau was also among them, and he said with a wry smile or gratitude. Yi Ren waved his hand casually. Signal to get the people away quickly and finish the work, don't spoil their mood here to play. Just when the police were preparing to inject the murderer with a tranquilizer, suddenly there was a burst of flames. An operator closest to him let out a shrill scream. He turned into a pyro almost instantly. The assistants' faces changed, and they subconsciously let out an exclamation. But facing the raging flames, they couldn't even get close. The operator, who was full of desire, screamed. It only took a few seconds for the terrible heat to completely burn his skin. Qinran's beautiful eyes widened, and her eyes were full of anxiety. Small doses of muscle relaxants don't last long for a martial artist of her level. But at this moment, she can only barely stimulate the power of blood. Let the temperature of the surrounding air drop a little. Call. Yi Ren repeated the same trick, blowing out a mouthful of white frost, and Qian Yuan, who was covered in fire, survived. A thick layer of hoarfrost condensed on his body. It seems that if the temperature is lower, it can directly enter the state of ice sculpture. Just when everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But Yi Ren saw the murderer, whose jaw was broken and whose whole face looked like a ghost. Trembling, he took out a strange syringe from his trouser pocket, aiming at the heart as a sudden thrust. Immediately afterwards, the murderer showed a painful and hideous expression. His eyes, nose, ears, every hole in his body is bursting with orange flames. In half a breath, the orange-red flame gradually turned into white. This also means that the temperature of the flame has reached an astonishing 4,000 degrees Celsius or more. Bah! Because the jaw was knocked off by Yi Ren, the fire-breathing superhuman murderer couldn't understand what he was saying at this time. But judging from his hideous and terrifying face, that's definitely not a good thing to say. At the same time, the surface of the supernatural being's skin showed a black charred appearance. Even he himself has begun to be unable to withstand the flames of this temperature. It's too late to say it. The fire-breathing power user suddenly exploded from the inside. At the same time as 4 or 5 split, the flame that was supposed to expand and explode was compressed into a column under his final drive. It's like a volcano. The smaller the hole, the greater the power. Yi Ren's pupils shrank, but the fire wasn't directed at him, but Qinran. At this critical moment, the monitor made his own decision. She hugged Qinran, the weight of the two of them would slow down her speed. Even if she dodged, she couldn't avoid the range of the fire stick. Or she could choose to leave Shinran and hide alone. Or, squad leader. When the squad leader threw Shinran away from the stove. When he faced the scorching flames. Yi Ren's eyes are tearing apart. She didn't think about it that much at all, and she didn't have time to think about it that much. Her kind instinct drove her to make a decision. She saved Shinran. But what about the price? Do all. Yi Ren could hear his heart beating wildly, faster and stronger than ever under the pressure. The world slowed down in Yi Ren's eyes. When he ran with all his strength, Ren obviously felt that the gravity of the earth was breaking away from him. He found out. I am faster than the fire stick. Boom. In the eyes of outsiders, Yi Ren appeared in front of the squad leader in an instant, as if he had teleported by frame. And hugged her gently. The fire stove bombarded Yi Ren's back, but bounced off the sides like a stream of water. The squad leader stood there in a daze. The pupils trembled and swayed. She saw Yi Ren's expression of enduring pain, and heard the sound of something turning into coke. Everything seems to be a long time, and it seems to be in a flash. The fire wick dissipated weakly. The yellow and white flames with a temperature of more than 4,000 degrees accurately burned Yi Ren's back. Everyone can only see a piece of scorched black. What are you doing in a daze? Call 120 for an ambulance. The assistant of the Forest Bureau roared and asked his staff to call an ambulance. The scene became a little chaotic. Shinran, who was thrown out, struggled to stand up under the trend of tenacious willpower. She stumbled over to Yi Ren. Do not die. With all her strength, she pressed her hands on Yi Ren's back. Pipipi. Frost spread and covered Yi Ren's back. Tears could not stop dripping from Shinran's face. There was only one thought in her mind. Do not die. Never die. She prayed instinctively, sobbing. Not just her. The squad leader also had red eyes. That delicate little face that was always ascetic, only despair and sadness remained at this moment. The moment Yi Ren stood in front of her, she realized. What will happen next that makes me unacceptable? Just when everyone was in chaos and grief. Hiss. Ice compress just after ironing, it feels a bit irritating. Quote. Yi Ren bared his teeth as he spoke. Look back. He found that everyone was staring at him blankly. What's wrong? Quote. Shinran made a question mark. The squad leader also raised a question mark. Everyone present slowly raised a question mark. You're not dead. Shinran's trembling voice was filled with unspeakable excitement and excitement. Under such a terrifying high-temperature flame, Yi Ren actually didn't die. Hey, do you want me to die? Yi Ren rolled his eyes. He couldn't even kill himself with a nuclear explosion, let alone the fire-breathing man. You must know that the temperature at the center of a small nuclear explosion is as high as 100,000 to 200,000 degrees Celsius. However, the fusion energy produced by nuclear man is quite different from the energy produced by common flame. The process of being compressed is missing, resulting in a completely different level of energy. So, shall we still send the ambulance over? Nonsense. Yi Ren was sent to the hospital under the compulsory request of Shinran and the squad leader. Dr. Lan showed a strange expression when he saw that it was Yi Ren. In just 1 month, how many times have you met Yi Zhu? Hiss. After the frost faded, Dr. Lan clicked his tongue when he saw Yi Ren's miserable back. Severe burns, the skin on the entire back and half of the buttocks are gone. A small part of the muscle tissue showed signs of carbonization, but luckily no internal organs were burned. It looks serious. Where did it burn like this? Yi Ren lay on the hospital bed speechless for a while. In fact, with its own self-healing ability, it can be cured by standing in the sun for a few minutes. But after the clothes were burned, he didn't dare to show such an exaggerated self-healing power in front of the people in the special bureau. Even Yi Ren had no choice but to use the frost released by Shinran. Forces the cells in the back into sleep mode. This greatly slowed down the self-healing ability. But it's okay, it will itch next time, just bear with it. As he spoke, Dr. Lan rubbed his hands together. Blue light came out from the hands, and deformed growths grew under the blue light. The skin on Yi Ren's back recovered at the speed of light. This is. Shinran was amazed at Dr. Lan's unique skill, the power of blood that can quickly heal others. Blues. Could it be what Grandpa once said? The power of the blood of the beast. Okay, I'm fine, you can rest assured. Yi-Ren put on new clothes. He said to the concerned eyes of the two girls. It was expected that the squad leader would care so much about him, but Yi-Ren didn't expect Shinran's reaction to be so great. This surprised Yi-Ren. At this time, the information about the fire-breathing ability was also found out by the Special Bureau. The assistant of the Forest Bureau handed the file bag to Yi-Ren. Quote. Do you want to take a look? His expression is very strange. It turns out that the fire-breathing man is a notorious supernatural person from the Banksea Kingdom, who caused a huge arson case in the Banksea Kingdom 5 years ago. Thousands of common people died in that fire alone. After that, the fire-breathing man disappeared. Every time there is news, there is a lot of commotion, and he is a guy who makes Hakka countries feel headaches. The most recent time was that he burned down a building in Country M, which caused financial losses to superstars and killed many people. That time Country M sent troops and supernatural beings to capture him alive. Then he disappeared. There is a high probability that it was incorporated by Country M. Such a scumbag, only Country M would want it. Compared with this, Yi Zhuang Deshao Ren is more curious about the bottle of medicine he injected at the end. However, when he mentioned this, the assistant's expression changed slightly, telling Yi-Ren to stop talking. It's inconvenient to tell you some secrets. In short, don't underestimate any supernatural being. Because something happened. The squad leader and the others are not in the mood to go back to the amusement park to continue playing. The three casually found a milk tea shop on the street and sat down to chat. When it comes to paying, Shinran can't be positive. Yi-Ren didn't refuse the kindness of others. After all, she is a little rich woman, and he has saved her several times. Shinran chatted with the monitor. Yi-Ren deliberately found a place to bask in the sun, and shrank there comfortably. When he is bored, he is exercising his perspective ability. The current perspective limit of a few hundred meters is still not enough. Fortunately, Yi-Ren discovered all his abilities. Both can be significantly enhanced with exercise. It is exercise that allows me to control these abilities more precisely. Thank you. If it weren't for you today, I might. Shinran pursed her lips and thanked the monitor very solemnly. Those big watery eyes stared straight at the squad leader's cold little face. Think about it now. She was still terrified, but the squad leader threw her out of the range of the stove, which left an indelible mark on Shinran's heart instantly. You're welcome. The monitor just shook his head slightly. You are my savior. I, Shinran, owe you my life, Sister Fudao. My name is Walnut. Then why did Yi-Ren call you Fudao? His common words are not standard. Mo Xian, who was basking in the sun beside him, gritted his teeth, but he could hear voices within a kilometer. The two girls have become acquainted with each other through their fateful friendship. But the monitor doesn't know yet. She will soon face a difficult choice again. In the evening, Shinran returned to the safe hotel under the escort of the Special Affairs Bureau. Yi-Ren and the squad leader reluctantly parted on the street. See you tomorrow. The squad leader tiptoed gently, sucked at the corner of Yi-Ren's mouth. Because it was on the street, and there were many passers-by, her little face was slightly red. See you tomorrow. Yi-Renrua slapped the monitor's little head. This feeling is really addictive. After returning to his high-end apartment, Yi-Ren lay down on the bed with a slap, puff. No matter how many times, Yi-Ren will feel excited from the bottom of his heart when he sees this beautiful and spacious house. The special administration is really generous. This house. People in common can't afford to save money for a lifetime, but they say to send it to the nearest place. After taking a shower, Yi-Ren originally planned to exercise his superhuman abilities. But on second thought, is the monitor home? What is she doing? Miss me. Young couple in love period. Full of love and love. Just when Yi-Ren took out his mobile phone and was about to send a message to the monitor, Yi-Ren suddenly tensed up. Something very fast approached him in an instant. So fast. This speed, so fast that even Yi-Ren is shocked. Amazing vigilance. Next moment, Yi-Ren heard a strange voice from behind. He turned his head sharply. At the same time, the tense right fist fell towards the sound source at supersonic speed. When the sound barrier is broken, a cone-shaped sonic boom cloud is produced. 1. With this punch, Yi Ren missed. The voice came from behind Yi Ren again unhurriedly. The speed is good, but not fast enough. Yi Ren turned his head with a sullen face. On the living room sofa, sitting there was a man in his mid-20s, with pale skin and shattered hair. When he smiles, Yi Ren can still see his jagged teeth. The man has strange tattoos on his arms, like some kind of ancient text. Who are you? Yi Ren asked in a deep voice, while staring at him with 120,000 points of energy. But the man disappeared from the sofa in an instant, appearing to the left of Yi Ren, holding a smoking cup of coffee. Does it matter who I am? Than that, I'm more curious about you. The man seemed to be showing off his skills. He did not attack Yi Ren. He just teased Yi Ren again and again with his exaggerated speed. Hercules and sleeping are low-level abilities, but they are also difficult to deal with for common warriors, but they died in your hands. The puppeteer is much more famous, and the reward is as high as $1 million. The mainstay of the Red Shark organization also died in your hands. The thing that surprised me the most is that you killed the transparent person. She can change the carbon arrangement of her skin, making her body indestructible and indestructible. That is a terrifying guy who can resist missiles hard. But it also fell into the hands of Yi Ren. You are really a genius, as far as I know. You have just turned 18, second stage. Or third stage. Or fourth stage. Yi Ren has remained silent. The man seemed bored. He disappeared from Yi Ren Cha again. He appeared on the sofa with his legs crossed and sipped his coffee gracefully. Genius like you, join us, you can get everything you want. By this time, Yi Ren finally spoke. Are you also a supernatural person from abroad? The man grinned. Just say yes or no, join us, money, rights, women, you have everything you want. This is a great temptation. But for Yi Ren, I could have done whatever I wanted, but I kept reminding myself. I'm Superman, not Grandfather Man. Boom. Yi Ren appeared in front of the man in an instant, grabbing his neck with one hand. At this time, Yi Ren had already used all his strength. After coming to this world, it was the first time he was so serious and nervous. He missed it. Your speed really makes me dumbfounded. A man's voice came from behind Yi Ren. Yi Ren's pupils shrank slightly. Anger surfaced on his face. Time slowed down in his sight, but he himself was not affected. In Yi Ren's eyes, the man's body was still too close to become a blurred afterimage. Yi Ren couldn't keep up with his speed. From the man's point of view, Yi Ren keeps slow motion. But even so, he was also shocked from the bottom of his heart. Your eyes can keep up with my speed. Yes. Yi Ren's body couldn't keep up. But Yi Ren's pupils were always locked on the man. I'm really more and more interested in you. Do you really not consider joining us? Shut up. Yi Ren threw punch after punch into the air. But still can't touch the man's body. Gradually, Yi Ren felt annoyed for a while. Don't run if you have the guts. Ha ha. The man let out a mocking laugh, and he stopped. Reach out, wanting to grab Yi Ren's fist directly. The reason why he wants to do this is because he is very confident in his physical strength. After all, with his terrifying speed, the flesh must be very tough to ensure that the flesh and blood will not be separated under high-speed displacement. He has tried maintaining the highest speed. After accelerating 6 kilometers, it directly crashed through the 20 centimeters thick steel plate. And he was unscathed. So, he made a bad decision. Well, the moment Yi Ren's fist touched his palm, a look of astonishment appeared on the man's pale face. In an instant, his entire right arm was twisted at a strange angle under the huge force. Even if he reacts quickly retreat to release force, but the body still loses balance. Boom. He directly smashed through the reinforced concrete wall and flew out, which is a height of more than 20 floors. Yi Ren stood on the edge of the large hole in the wall. The supervision combined with the perspective to sweep out, he knew that the guy was not dead yet. Really, the man stepped on 2 short blades and flew back. 5th stage Jade Balance Controller Realm. Yi Ren's pupils shrank slightly. This guy can fly with a weapon, and he is clearly a warrior who has already reached the Yuang realm. The man's right hand was broken, and at this moment, it was hanging limply on his chest. He flew 10 meters away from Yi Ren. With a wry smile on his face, he shouted, Wait, stop beating. Your own people, you guys are such a monster. How could Yi Ren believe his nonsense? Suddenly raised his hand, and he threw the air conditioner remote control. This scene seems familiar. This is how the puppeteer died. But the man had a terrifying movement speed, and he returned to Yi Ren's living room in an instant. Wait a minute, look at this. Yi Ren's fist landed in front of the man's eyebrows, and the wind from the fist made his broken hair fly. The man could have ducked, but he didn't. Instead, he put a certificate in front of him. Dragon Kingdom, the sword bearer. The certificate is also stamped with a special anti-counterfeiting mark, and a big head photo. But what does it mean to belong to the Xuanyuanjian department? It seems that you hate people with supernatural powers. That's good, so this is the power of your blood. The man grinned and sat down. Yi Ren held his ID card suspiciously and called the Forestry Bureau. The sword bearer. Forest Bureau's tone became serious after hearing these 3 words. It turns out that Longguo has several special departments. Xuanyuan sword is one of them, and the person holding the sword is a special member of this department. It's really my own. After confirming the identity of the man from the Forest Bureau, Yi Ren frowned and returned the ID to him. Thunder, is that your name? It's just a code name. Although it is confirmed that he is not a supernatural person from abroad, Yi Ren still has no good looks towards him. He suddenly broke into his home in the middle of the night. He also said some strange things. I just wanted to test you, but I didn't expect you to be so, fine. Jinglei grinned, and twitched in pain when he accidentally touched his broken right arm. I went to Province H to carry out a secret mission, and I happened to pass by this city, so I wanted to come and play with you. Jinglei knew of Yi Ren's existence through Mr. Yu. So I was a little curious about Yi Ren, so I came here to test Yi Ren on purpose. When you come to Qinglong Academy, we will meet again, Yi Ren. After Jinglei left a meaningful smile, he clapped his hands and disappeared from the living room. Yi Ren, on the other hand, was sullen, clenched his fists secretly. I'm not strong enough. I have to work harder. That night, Yi Ren stayed up all night. The supernatural beings he encountered in the past few days were all dealt with by him in a devastating way. This inevitably made him a little swollen. Yes. I am Superman, the invincible Superman. However, Jinglei taught Yi Ren a hard lesson tonight. His terrifying speed. Yi Ren couldn't even touch the hem of his clothes. I'm still too arrogant. There are many capable people and strange people in this world, I have to be a little bit more. Thinking of this, Yi Ren simply climbed onto the roof. He wants to try flying. Hu family martial arts. The squad leader lives here, and the wigwam is her home. Hum. In the bathroom, the squad leader hummed an unknown tune and narrowed his eyes comfortably. Don't suppress your emotions. Laugh when you want to laugh, cry when you want to cry. It's fantastic. The warm water poured over her smooth and jade-like skin, and she could enjoy it to the fullest. Thanks to the inhibitor. If it was in the past, it was because of calming the violent energy zone in the body. She must concentrate on suppressing it at all times. Meals have no taste. It is also uncomfortable to take a shower. No matter what you do, it becomes boring. Because 9 out of 10 energy have to be used to suppress the violent energy. And tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. The fragrant squad leader left the bathroom in his pajamas. She looked at herself in the mirror. There was hope and joy vaguely in his eyes. 2 days later, you only need to accept the tasks arranged by your father and complete them, then you can have real freedom. By the time, I can be so happy every day. Can get rid of the curse, and live a happy life with Yi Ren. Very good. The squad leader couldn't help but fantasize about the future. Will I have a wedding with Yi Ren? Will you have children? What kind of house will you live in? Think about it. The squad leader couldn't help laughing. So, what is the final task? The squad leader remembered that her father told her inadvertently when she was very young. She is a tool of the organization. A one-time tool for the execution of a great plan. Originally, I should complete my mission at a special time and in a special place. But, because of the appearance of Yi Ren, my feelings became more and more difficult to restrain, so I lost the qualification to be that tool. But that's fine too. Father set himself another task. Just get it done. I'm free. What kind of mission is it? Really exciting. The next day. Beach. Are you serious? Yes, yes, let's go to the beach to play, shall we? Yi-Ren looked at Chin-Ran with a question mark on his face. This girl, when you think about it, you get it. Beach, I've never been to. Even the squad leader looked excited. To this, Yi-Ren nodded fiercely. Okay, then let's go to the beach. Chin-Ran, a certain blue-haired girl pursed her mouth in dissatisfaction. What the hell, when I say go to the beach, you look incredible. Fu Dao said to go to the beach, you just agreed. Huh, it kind of rhymes, skr. 0. To the beach, how do we go? I can drive. Yi-Ren and Chin-Ran looked at the monitor in shock. She tilted her head slightly. Driving, is it hard? With the financial support of Chin-Ran's little rich woman, the three of them left as soon as they agreed. But before going to the beach, there is one more important thing to do. Let's go pick out swimsuits. When Chin-Ran said these words bouncingly, Yi-Ren's eyes lit up. If you tell me this, then I won't be sleepy. Don't look at Yi-Ren, who is usually quite upright. It's all an illusion. How could a boy who has just turned 18 and just started dating have no desire for a relationship between a man and a woman? I understand, this chapter is a welfare chapter. Yi-Ren slapped his thigh. Followed the two girls into the swimsuit store. Chin-Ran naturally held the monitor's arm, but continued to choose for the monitor with great interest. Hey, Sister Fu Dao, what do you think of this? Yi-Ren, no, it's too leaky. Chin-Ran, don't interrupt. However, Yi-Ren's attitude is firm, that kind of hot bikinis must not be bought. Even if you buy it, show it to me alone at night, and definitely don't wear it out. The squad leader blushed slightly, and his cold eyes became a little annoyed. Oh, you are so long-winded, you go out, Sister Fu Dao and I will choose by ourselves. Yi-Ren was pushed out of the swimsuit shop by Chin-Ran. The squad leader still looked a little hesitant. But Chin-Ran pulled her and blinked. Sister Fu Dao, when we get to the beach, why don't you surprise him again? Soon. Chin-Ran and the squad leader came out with small bags. Yi-Ren originally wanted to use perspective to scan. But, seems a bit impolite to do that. So just take a few more glances. How can you take a glance? Only, swimsuits are stacked together, making it impossible to tell. City Y can also be regarded as a coastal city. If you drive on the highway, you can reach the beach in just over 3 hours. Crescent Bay. This can be regarded as a relatively famous tourist attraction in City Y. But it's not a holiday right now. There are not too many people. There are many hotels and homestays by the sea, and Chin-Zai's little rich woman directly bought the most expensive one. 7,000 a night. Yi-Ren can only lament that the rich really don't think of money as money. But the hotel is worth the price. The warriors of the second stage all have a strong insight ability, so the hotel dare not be sloppy in terms of hygiene. 723. Did not dare to install cameras secretly. Mrs. Chin booked 2 rooms. She is with the class monitor, and Yi-Ren is alone. The hotel is huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows that can directly see the sea, and there is even a small independent swimming pool outside the balcony. Are we staying here tonight? Of course, let's play for 2 days. Chin-Ran blinked her big watery eyes, holding the monitor's arm and jumping happily. Let's go swimming in the sea. Sha Tian. The weather is dry and hot, and the sun on the beach is even more sinister. Some held up parasols, leisurely dozing on the sand. The sun is so bright. I can't keep my eyes open. Although Chin-Ran said so, she didn't sweat at all, and she was even emitting a slight chill. It's Yi-Ren. He was wearing swimming trunks, showing his strong muscles. At this time, he made a large font against the sun, as if embracing the world. This guy isn't afraid of the sun. Chin-Ran stuck out her tongue. Yi-Ren seemed to be enjoying the sun. Yi-Ren, hearing Chin-Ran's energetic voice, Yi-Ren opened his eyes and looked back. Well, they have changed into swimsuits. 2-piece swimsuits have separate upper and lower body fabrics. Chin-Ran. The swimsuit is blue and white as the main color, which matches her hair color and eyes very well. A large piece of white skin was exposed. There is also a big sun hat on his head, and he is waving at Yi-Ren. Yi-Ren swallowed instinctively. Hell, she didn't expect Chin-Ran to be such a promising girl that she couldn't tell normally. Yi-Ren looked away stiffly. His eyes stopped on the squad leader. Her main color is black, after all, She is a cool sister with black long straight attributes. Compared with Shinran's lively and cute. The squad leader is completely hot and cold. Those slender and straight legs looked even more attractive against the black swimsuit. Ren clearly recognized at this moment. I am a leg control. No doubt, leg control is a sure thing. How about it? Good, good, good looking. For a while, Ren had difficulty finding accurate adjectives to describe their beauty. But slightly sad, it was the squad leader who was even narrower than Shinran. Really, surprisingly, can we go to the sea? The squad leader looked at the rolling waves, tilted his head slightly, and raised the corners of his mouth to show an expectant expression. The cold voice matched her action. Very cute. Don't worry, Sister Futao, you have to put on sunscreen first, otherwise you will turn into a dark gorilla. The squad leader's expression tightened. She doesn't want to be black. At this time, she suddenly saw not far away, a young couple lying on the sand cloth under the umbrella. Guy is applying sunscreen to girl. Could you help me? It is incumbent. The squad leader also got down on his stomach, his back as smooth as jade, showing exquisite and graceful curves. Ren wiped it on. His hands were cold and soft, and he carefully wiped every part of the monitor's body. And the boys passing by. They couldn't help showing envious and jealous eyes. It's me, it's me. Shinran excitedly handed over the sunscreen. You still need this. Aren't you cool? Shinran's face froze. After a long while, she pursed her lips depressedly, lowered her head and silently painted it by herself. All right, Ren had to say that Shinran looked quite distressing. The squad leader pushed him and gave him a look. Ahem, I was wrong just now, let me help you. No, I'll do it myself. Shinran lowered her eyes. Her eyes were clearly disappointed and sad. Actually she understands. Ren is Fu Dao's boyfriend, and he crossed the line. Yeah, she is just sad. I was going to be happy today. But now, all good mood is gone, even. Shinran felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. She clearly knew it was wrong. But I just couldn't bear it. I'll help you. Ren snatched the suntan lotion from her hand a bit forcefully. Get down. You kill me. I didn't, you get down. Shinran puffed her mouth like a hamster, and lay down with a complicated face. When cool sunscreen hits a sensitive back. All right. The mood became joyful again. The squad leader sighed helplessly in her heart, she wondered if she was too kind and soft-hearted. Continue like this. It always feels like something is going to happen in the future. But this child Shinran, she has no intentions, she is very simple and cute. Even the monitor doesn't want her to feel bad. All right. Ren clapped his hands, admiring the graceful figure of the two girls again. Swimsuits are such a good thing. No wonder so many people like to come to swim. When Shinran and the squad leader appeared on this beach, they were the most beautiful scenery. Many boys cast eager eyes. After all, with their looks and figures, has completely crushed the rest of the girls on the beach. For a while, those girls in bikinis, they all became the foil for Shinran and the squad leader, and the grass blades under the flowers. Tisk tisk tisk, this is the first time I've seen such a beautiful girl in real life, without a glamorous filter or makeup. We can't be worthy of a young lady of this level. Yes, just enjoy it. Some normal people would think so. But there are also abnormal people who will cheerfully come over to strike up a conversation. Like this guy with curly hair now. He has no muscles at all, and he has a big belly at a young age. With that curly hair, it looks like a fat teddy dog. Sister, can you add a WeChat? In such cases. Ren naturally stood up and stood in front of them. No, Ren's muscular body is still very convincing. Little Teddy pouted and left sullenly. As the saying goes, people are irrational when rice worms are on their brains. Little Teddy has a wide social circle because his family has some assets, and he happens to know some special people. Brother Luo, can I ask you something? Little Teddy found a mixed society martial artist, offered him a reward, and described it with embellishments. I only want those two younger sisters, Brother Luo. Okay, I'll go take a look. As soon as little Teddy heard this, he felt stable. Brother Luo is amazing, he is a warrior of the third stage Yaoguang stepping into the sky. All major martial arts schools are scrambling to get it. It's just that Brother Luo is impatient and likes to make quick money, so he gets mixed up in the gray circle. Brother Luo took his 2 little brothers with him. Walked towards Yi Ren. Oh, not far away, Brother Luo looked at Qin Ran and the squad leader, his eyes lit up, and he licked his lips excitedly. Good guy, this is the first time he has seen such a beautiful woman. Look at this figure, it's really attractive. Luo Zhe had already forgotten about little Teddy, and leaned over with his eyes shining. Sister, let's play together. Yi Ren turned his head away. Luo Zhe didn't even look at Yi Ren, but his disgusting tone made Yi Ren feel unhappy. Don't be shy, come, big brother will accompany. Gululu. The words are not finished. A huge force came from his head, pressed his head and buried it in the water. Yi Ren looked displeased and let Luo Zhe splash in the water. Let go of Brother Luo. The 2 younger brothers beside Brother Luo were startled, both shocked and astonished. What happened to Brother Luo? Why was he being held down and unable to break free? Yi Ren raised his hand, and Luo Zhe, who had choked on water, coughed wildly. He roared ferociously, "You court death, you!" Tisk. For some reason, Yi Ren suddenly felt an uncontrollable anger. He knows. As long as you use a little force. The difficulty of crushing this guy's head is no different from crushing an ant. Ah! Luo Zhe suddenly let out a shrill scream. The place where Yi Ren's 5 fingers pinched the skull was actually dented. At the same time, both he and his little brother saw Yi Ren's slightly ferocious expression. Roll. Yi Ren worried that he would lose control. Killed the guy in a fit of rage. You wait for me. Luo Zhe, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices, obviously did not realize the seriousness of the matter. At this time, the sea suddenly set off waves, and people screamed from the beach. There are sharks. It's not a shark, is that a dinosaur? There are sea monsters. There should be no fish in the shallow sea area, but at this time the waves become rough and puff. Yi Ren looked through the sea and saw a huge shadow. It is about 4 or 5 meters long and 2 or 3 meters high. Ah! Luo Zhe's lower body was bitten by the creature in the sea, and the seawater was instantly dyed red. You guys, go ashore. Yi Ren urged Qin Ran and the monitor to leave. There was a crisp sound. The sea creature bit off Luo Zhe's body, taking out his small half of the spine. Crackling, crunching, swallowing it like chewing on a fragile bone. Even so, Brother Luo was not dead yet, he was terrified and shouted for help. But the 2 younger brothers had already run ashore. Now there is not even a single figure. The only one by his side, only 2. Help me, save me. Yi Ren looked at him, a twisted pleasure suddenly rose in his heart, he grinned. Ah! Under Luo Zhe's desperate expression. The sea creature suffocated him in one gulp, followed by the familiar screeching sound. Call. After Luo Zhe's death, Yi Ren felt relieved immediately. But the sea creature was not full, and wanted to add more food, and opened its mouth towards Yi Ren. On the beach are screaming and fleeing tourists. The lifeguard on duty stood on the shore, his face livid and afraid to go into the water. They all saw the huge monster in the sea. He can't be saved. What's the use of me going down? I'm going down to deliver food. We can only pray for him. Just when everyone thought Yi Ren was about to die, only a muffled sound was heard. The sea exploded. Then Yi Ren came to the surface, grabbing the fin of the big fish with both hands, like tearing a piece of A4 paper. Thorn. Blood stained the sea red. Not only that, Yi Ren punched Big Yu's body, and his arm went straight through. He is pulling hard, crackling and falling out a lot of internal organs. That huge sea creature was torn into pieces by Yi Ren like this. The people on the shore were all pale with fright at this scene. Soon, professionals cordoned off the coast and prohibited people from entering the water. They also want to honor Yi Ren, because he killed the big fish and relieved the threat for everyone. But Yi Ren is not someone who wants to show off. The only dead, it's Luo Zhe who is cast aside by people. No one cares about the life and death of that kind of guy. There were even business owners who had been blackmailed by him applauded. Into the night, Qin Ran and the squad leader were enjoying the sea breeze in the private courtyard. It's so annoying, it's hard to come to the beach once, and it's not allowed to play in the water. Because there are big mutated fish in the sea. Qin Ran pouted. But didn't Yi Ren kill it? Maybe more than one. The squad leader brushed the hair around his ear, got up and helped Yi-Ren set up the grill. There's nothing like a sea breeze. There is nothing more pleasant than grilling by the sea. With such a big fish, I don't know if it tastes good or not. Yi-Ren also brought back the shredded big fish. The fish looks very plump, without any spines, and it emits an attractive aroma after a little roasting. I'm here to help too. Chin-Ran was clumsy, and because of the coldness emanating from her body, it was always a disservice. But even so, she worked very hard and seriously. At last, the three of them were eating delicious barbecue, sitting on the edge of the courtyard and looking at the sea horizon in the distance. Wow, suddenly I feel so happy. While eating the barbecue, Chin-Ran suddenly laughed silly. 943 inches. Well, I feel the same, very happy. The squad leader raised his mouth slightly and took Yi-Ren's hand. There will be many opportunities like this in the future. Yi-Ren rubbed the monitor's nose and said dotingly. Happiness, always ephemeral. After the squad leader played at the beach for a whole day, they returned to the urban area. Inhibitors are about to expire. The squad leader returned to the martial arts hall, ready to accept his father's final mission. As long as you complete the final task, you will be free. Relative. The father handed the squad leader a file bag, which contained detailed information on the target. Your mission is to kill her. The squad leader stared blankly at the person in the photo, that is. Chin-Ran. The moment the squad leader saw Chin-Ran's photo, her pupils shrank. There is an instant unrealistic fantasy in my heart, is it possible? Did I read it wrong? However, kill her and you will be free. After leaving such a sentence, the father left, leaving the squad leader standing in the martial arts hall in a daze. The moon is in the sky. The bright moon was shrouded by dark clouds floating in at this time. Looks like it's going to rain. There was a faint roar of thunder. Tomorrow is the last day. I know the Bureau of Forestry. I will go there early in the morning. Yi-Ren received a call from the Forest Bureau. After several special performances these days, Bureau Lin gradually recognized Yi-Ren's strength. Said that Yi-Ren will be invited to work part-time for another day tomorrow. After the end, Mr. Chin and the others will also take a special plane to go back to the capital. Yi-Ren hung up the phone. He glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw the dark clouds outside the window lingering. Clatter. It's raining. And it was pouring rain. Yi-Ren frowned, with a vague premonition in his heart. It rained all night, but the next morning not only stopped, but the sun was shining brightly. Yi-Ren sent a message to the monitor. Said that he would be busy all day, and after waiting for a while, the monitor did not respond. He had no choice but to put down his phone and go to the Forest Bureau. The special hotel was heavily guarded, and even Yi-Ren had to go through several inspections before seeing Bureau Forest and Mr. Chin. Good morning, old man. Dilemma soap. Mr. Chin still looks so energetic, more energetic than young people. Chin-Ran stood beside the old man. Seeing Yi-Ren sticking out his tongue cutely, he said hello. Actually, I called you here mainly to let you see more of the world. Director Lin patted Yi-Ren on the shoulder. Basically all the people who could be dispatched by the Special Affairs Bureau were dispatched. Within 2 kilometers of Feng Yuan. There are no dead spots, and every possible sniper point has been swept out. Such a guard level, it can only be described as airtight. If nothing else, it should be a surprise. The squad leader struggled and hesitated for a long time, and she struggled with herself almost all night long. At last, she still wants to be free. As long as the tasks are completed, you can live a happy life with Yi-Ren. With such good wishes, the squad leader forced himself to suppress all his emotions. She has made a choice. Evening, Mr. Chin and the others arrived at the airport. Nothing happened throughout the day today. No surprises or dangers. Now as long as the old man and the others board the special plane, everything is safe. I'm leaving now. The next time we meet, we will be at Blue Dragon Academy. Chin-Ran blinked her big eyes reluctantly. Yi-Ren nodded. Aren't you going to tell me something? I want it. Be careful and safe on the road. Hearing Yi-Ren's straightforward answer, Chin-Ran rolled her eyes. The plane is coming soon. Sister Futao told me just now that she is coming to see me off. Squad leader, you told her to leave. Well, just after I finished speaking, she said that she would come to see me off. Take a look at her, how can she be so indifferent like you? Quote. Yi Ren was speechless. Soon, the squad leader also came to the airport, after undergoing numerous checks to make sure there was no threat. She just came to Qin Ran's side. Sister Fu Dao. Qin Ran was still so lively, meeting her was a big hug. It's just that the monitor's face was a little stiff. However, she has always been expressionless, and there is nothing wrong with her. Except Yi Ren. Yi Ren could hear the squad leader's heart beating faster. It can even perceive the abnormality in the squad leader's body that is different from usual due to pheromone disorder. She is nervous. Sister Hutao, Qinglong Academy will start school in more than 10 days, and you will come with Yi Ren by then, right? Yes. The squad leader nodded slightly. If you want to go to Qinglong Academy with Yi Ren, then you must complete the task. Qinren must die. But the monitor looked at Qin Ran's clear eyes. My heart ached again. Squad leader. Yi Ren felt that something was wrong and came over. He heard the squad leader's heartbeat getting faster and faster. At this time, the squad leader suddenly hugged Qin Ran gently. Qin Ran said, "Huh." Immediately afterwards, Qinren suddenly felt that the monitor's body temperature was significantly higher. Because of being hugged by the monitor, Qin Ran couldn't see that the squad leader's hand was grasping her neck like a claw. The back of the human neck is fragile. For the squad leader, just grab Qin Mian by the back of the neck. It can easily break her spine. So, the task will be completed. At the critical moment, a hand firmly grasped the monitor's wrist. Nut, what are you doing? Yi Ren had an unbelievable expression on his face. He never imagined that the squad leader would do such a thing. However, the squad leader broke free from Yi Ren's hand slightly. Sorry, I have to do this. The next moment, the squad leader locked Qin Ran's neck with his left hand, and grabbed Qin Mian's chin with his right hand. Qin Ran's beautiful eyes widened. Why did she kill herself? Xiao Ran. Mr. Qin showed fear, and at the same time, all the officers of the Special Bureau pointed their guns at the squad leader. Especially the Forest Bureau. He had a straight face, but his body trembled slightly. Originally, the escort mission was about to end, and no one expected such a change. Sister Hutao, what are you going to do? Qin Ran didn't dare to move. She can feel the strength of the monitor. I'm sorry, Xiao Ran. I'm sorry. Wait a minute, don't shoot anyone. Yi Ren roared angrily. He saw a sniper aiming at the squad leader's forehead. Just in case, Yi Ren stood in front of the squad leader and stopped the gun for her. Yi Ren, get out of the way. Director Lin roared anxiously. Hateful. If Yi Ren hadn't blocked it, the sniper would have saved Qin Ran just now. The scene suddenly became a little chaotic. The squad leader held Qin Ran hostage, but Yi Ren stood in front of the squad leader, causing the officers not to dare to act rashly. Yi Ren, I say it one last time. Get out of the way. No. Yi Ren gritted his teeth, and grabbed Mr. Qin's shoulder with his backhand. If you dare to shoot at Walnut, I will kill him. Quote. Mr. Qin was in a daze, and Bureau Lin and the others were even more in a daze. Yi Ren, are you crazy? Do you know what the hell you're doing right now? I am certain. Yi Ren looked at the monitor with a ferocious face. He is waiting for an explanation. But the squad leader just lowered his eyes, pursed his lips and said in a low voice. None of your business, Yi Ren. You go. How do I go? Tell me clearly why you are doing this. The scene stalemate. Although Qin Ran was filled with fear, she still puffed up and asked. Sister Walnut, can you tell me? Why? Could it be that she felt that she had snatched Yi Ren away? That's why. Only by killing you can I be free. Qin Ran, I'm sorry. Hearing that the squad leader forcibly suppressed his emotions, he answered in a cold tone. Qin Ran's face turned pale. It's still too late to stop now. Monitor, don't do things that you will regret. Yi Ren took a deep breath. If you kill Qin Ran, I will never forgive you for committing the crime. Hear this sentence. The monitor's pupils shrank slightly. Her tone became a little hasty. But only by doing this can I be free. Only if the task is completed. Only then can the curse in the body be cleared. Don't worry about controlling bad emotions and hurting people around you. Only when the task is done. Only then can I become a normal person who can cry and laugh. Only by doing this, can I have a future with you, Yi Ren. The monitor I like won't kill innocent people, if you hurt Qin Ran. Yi Ren didn't continue. It's just that extremely disappointed look in the eyes made the squad leader feel a tingle in his heart. She felt the violent energy expanding. For a moment, the squad leader showed a painful expression. Is it an illusion? It feels even more difficult to restrain. Sister Hutao, you are so hot. Qin Ran exclaimed. She actually saw a golden glow faintly under the monitor's skin. The squad leader was in pain. Yes, if he killed Qin Ran in front of Yi Ren, he would definitely not accept him again. So the so-called freedom, that is, not much to look forward to. Rebelling against fate, it's really ridiculous. The squad leader let go of his hand with a low smile. 2 lines of bitter tears slid down the cheeks. From the beginning, I am just a tool made artificially, a one-time consumable. The meaning of its own existence. It is to complete the mission of the tool at the determined time and place. Such myself. Destiny is doomed from birth. That sad fate. It cannot be rewritten. A tool should not give birth to feelings 800. Tools should not have expectations about the future. Tools are just tools. When she let go, Qinran subconsciously ran away, and at the same time. Bang, bang, 2 muffled sounds sounded almost simultaneously. A bullet hit Yi Ren in the neck, but was shattered by the recoil on contact. Another sniper bullet hit the monitor's chest. The bullet came out through the body. The blood splashed out with flesh foam. Where the heart should have been, there was only a huge wound left. Plop. The squad leader's body was raised by inertia, and then fell heavily to the ground. That black's long hair was fluttering, stained with dust. The empty eyes are blurred, because they have lost their brilliance. There was no expression on that bloodless little face, like a broken puppet. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. Yi Ren's pupils shrunk completely into needles. All of these, it all happens in an instant. Yi Ren saw it, but he couldn't keep up with the speed. His trembling hands froze in the air. If only a little faster. He was able to stop that bullet just now. Ah! He growled. Cha! The gravel on the ground trembled slowly under the invisible force field. Dust stained red with blood slowly floated into the sky. Yi Ren knelt in front of the squad leader, roaring ferociously, venting. His neck and face were covered with veins. His lips were bleeding from his own bite, and his nails dug into his palms. Boom! Yi Ren appeared in front of the shooting sniper as if teleporting. Like grabbing an ant from the ground. He grabbed the sniper with one hand. After ripping off his bulletproof helmet, what Yi Ren saw was a terrified common face. This moment, the anger in Yi Ren's pupils almost swallowed his reason. Yi Ren, stop, don't do stupid things. Bureau Lin advised with cold sweat, the speed of Yi Ren's explosion just now. Even he couldn't see clearly. If you kill him, you are a criminal, don't provoke the law. Yi Ren, calm down. Law. Yi Ren made a hoarse voice from his throat. Blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. I've been suppressing myself, when I can do anything, but I don't. I thought I was Superman, but you killed the person I cared about the most. At this moment Yi Ren felt empty in his heart. He is an orphan. Both lifetimes. Only here, he has a monitor and a girl who really loves him. But now, she died. You took everything from me, and now I want to. Bureau Lin's pupils shrank, seeing that Yi Ren is about to step into the abyss. Please, don't. Qin Ran's sharp cry stopped Yi Ren's clenched hands. Almost. The sniper's head would turn into a puddle of flesh. I have children, please. Let me go. He cried out in fear. He was the father of a child, the husband of a wife. He has his own family. 2 lines of tears slid down his hideous face. There was a snap. He let go of his hand, and returned to the squad leader's body precariously. Call. Bureau Forrest heaved a sigh of relief. His eyes signaled the sniper to leave here quickly, the farther the better. Yi Ren. Qin Ran also cried, and Blue's pupils swayed under the crystal tears. She came over and knelt down next to the squad leader's body. For a while, only Yi Ren and Qin Ran were sobbing weakly in the whole picture. Sorry. Qin Ran didn't know why she had to apologize. She just feels sad and miserable. When she saw Yi Ren burst into tears, she also burst into tears. Cough. Cough. At this moment, the squad leader actually coughed a few times as if returning to the past. Yi Ren's crying stopped abruptly. He widened his eyes in disbelief, seeing that the squad leader was still alive. You, hurry, go. The squad leader coughed up a mouthful of blood, and Red's blood shone with golden light. The surrounding radiation index soared. The moment the blood made contact with the ground, there was a popping sound. The monitor's body, glowing. I'm about. I can't hold it anymore. Hurry, go away. Every word she said was extremely difficult. The energy in her body kept her from dying completely. But it made her life worse than death. The violent energy in her body was completely out of the monitor's control. This moment, she remembered the inhibitor her father had given her 3 days ago. It might be it. Go. Heat and heat radiation shot through the air. The large hole in the squad leader's chest continuously released nuclear fusion energy. It would be a horrible nuclear explosion. Take Mr. Chin and Miss Chinran away. The Bureau of Forestry also noticed something was wrong, so he hurriedly asked the officers to take Mr. Chin and the others away. However, I do not go. I'm not leaving either. The front is what Yi Ren said, and the back is what Chin Ran said. Mr. Chin was forcefully pulled away by the people in the special situation, and he didn't listen to his country's scolding at all. As for Yi Ren and Chin Ran, no one dared to get close to them, and they were all afraid of being directly killed by the mad Yi Ren. Chin Ran gritted her teeth and asked her grandfather to follow Bureau Lin and the others to leave first. She was going to fight it. Comparable. Chin Ran tried her best to stimulate the power of the blood, and layers of frost appeared on the surface of her body for a while. Her blue pupils turned into ice blue at this moment. A piece of short hair grew wildly, and in the blink of an eye it grew to more than half a meter long. The color of the long hair has also become a highlight gradient from blue to ice blue. I can cool you down. I can. Chin Ran knelt beside the monitor, and put her hands on the monitor's chest. Shish. The golden light in the squad leader's wound exudes extremely high temperature. Chinran's hands were burned. Chapter 91. Although it hurt so much that she couldn't help shedding tears, she didn't move her hands even half a centimeter away. A gust of freezing cold air was released by her. But, a drop in the bucket. The energy produced by nuclear fusion is much higher than the limit of the ice and air she can release at present. Enough. Yi Ren gently pushed Chin Ran away. She fell to the side exhausted, her originally white hands kept shaking, and her skin was torn from the heat. The squad leader's consciousness is on the verge of blurring. The golden light emanating from her body became more and more dazzling, to the point where it would be burnt through the retina if you looked directly at it. She is like an unstable little sun. Maybe in the next moment, the surging and violent energy will explode with a bang, raising everything around it to the ground. Let's go. I love you, Monitor. The squad leader used his last consciousness to let Yi Ren go. But Yi Ren just picked her up and looked back at the exhausted Chin Ran. She had no strength left to stand up. Bureau Lin and the others took Mr. Chin and fled into a safe area. In Chinran's confused eyes, Yi Ren hugged the squad leader who was as dazzling as an angel, and flew into the sky with a bang. He flew up, above the clouds. A splendid nuclear explosion lit up with the sound of thunder. Gold light, brighter than the sun at this moment. That gigantic mushroom cloud represents the ultimate beauty in death. High temperature, heat radiation, shock wave, rumbling. It looks huge, but the damage caused is far smaller than imagined. Because there are no tall buildings near the airport. And it exploded at high altitude. The most important reason. It was Yi Ren who absorbed a great deal of energy and minimized the threat of disaster. Quote, 1 second before the explosion, the squad leader showed a sad and happy smile. Because she knew, Yi Ren chose to die with her. Although the squad leader hoped that Yi Ren could survive. But this pure love, who cannot be moved? Before and after the explosion, Yi Ren frantically absorbed energy from the squad leader. When he is fully focused, every cell in his body, they are all constantly devouring energy under the trend of will. Then, the nuclear explosion exploded, and Yi Ren's body suffered huge trauma in an instant. But at the moment of being injured, the terrifying self-healing ability played a role. Every cell is consuming the energy it has just engulfed. Copy like crazy. Viscera shattered, reassembled. Muscle breakdown, recombination. The skin disappears, restructured. At the moment of the explosion, Yu Ren saw his own skeleton exuding the radiance of gold. Even withstanding a nuclear explosion at close range, there is no crack in the bone. On the contrary, this body of flesh and blood repaired itself while it was collapsing. The energy absorbed and the energy consumed by self-healing have reached a perfect balance. The second half. Yu Ren felt hungry again. The energy of the sun and the energy of the squad leader are continuously stored in the body again. Yu Ren has never felt in such a good state. Then, Yu Ren fell down. He didn't know how he flew up, but when he came back to his senses, just did it. But now Yu Ren is falling from the sky, but the speed of falling seems to be getting slower and slower. Finally he fell smoothly to the ground. In his arms, he held the squad leader who had passed out. Yes, the monitor is not dead. Like Yu Ren, her body collapsed in an instant due to the explosion. But her self-healing ability is even stronger than that of Yu Ren. The moment of collapse, it was back to normal again. I should have thought of that earlier. Do you still remember the nuclear man? He blew himself up twice before dying, which means that they have a probability of surviving the blew up. It's actually about the use of energy. If the total amount of energy is 100, all of them were released during the self-detonation. Then it is natural to usher in death. But if only 90 is released, or after the energy is released, the energy is recaptured. This energy then begins to repair the damage in the body. So, self-explosion is a gamble, and there is only half the probability that it will recover. But, if the squad leader completely controls the energy in his body, it can achieve self-explosion at the same time, and the energy recovery can be used for all kinds of responses. Yu Ren carefully put the squad leader into the haystack and hid him. He returned to the airport alone. At this time, all the officers of the Special Affairs Bureau also came back, each with complicated expressions. They looked at Yu Ren. Some subconsciously loaded their guns. Yu Ren just glanced at them roughly, and then came to Mr. Chin. Old man, sorry for holding you hostage at that time. Understandable. The old man smiled wryly. In fact, he knew that Yu Ren would never do anything to him, because he didn't feel Yu Ren's killing intent. At that time, Yu Ren just used him to threaten the officers of the Special Service Bureau. Are you okay? Yu Ren walked towards Chinran again, saw her burnt hands, and frowned distressedly. Sister Walnut. Hearing Yu Ren's answer, Chinran opened her mouth in a daze. Forest Bureau and the others also fell silent one by one. She is dead, can this matter be over? When Yu Ren indifferently asked everyone in the Special Bureau, everyone couldn't help lowering their heads. The main reason is that Yu Ren's sense of oppression is too strong, and those eyes are full of sadness. Anyone who looks at him will feel great pressure. Bureau Lin finally sighed and didn't say anything more. After saying goodbye to Chin Ran and the old man, Yu Ren left the airport silently. At the last moment, Chin Ran took Yu Ren's hand. I'm waiting for you at Qinglong Academy, you will come, right? Yu Ren looked into her eyes. Those blue pupils trembled slightly, as if they were afraid of being rejected. Finally Yu Ren nodded. I'll be there, and I apologize to you on behalf of the monitor. Sister Walnut must have some special reason, and I owe her my life, I don't blame her. Chin Ran thought the squad leader was dead. She felt sad about it, and she wanted to comfort Yu Ren more than this. After all, Yu Ren lost his lover. Goodbye, Chin Ran. Chin Ran looked at Yu Ren's leaving back, pursed her lips, unwilling to say goodbye. She told herself inwardly, soon Yu Ren will come to Qinglong Academy, this short separation is nothing. Well, after an unknown amount of time, the squad leader suddenly opened his eyes and bounced off the bed. Here it is. All the memories before losing consciousness are recalled at this moment. I'm alive. After a short period of rejoicing, the monitor looked around. This is a very beautiful bedroom. The bed was big and soft. A huge LCD screen hangs on the wall. You're awake. When the squad leader heard the familiar voice, his breathing became short of breath. At the door is Yu Ren carrying a bag of packed food. Am I dreaming? The squad leader stared at Yu Ren blankly. After a while, her eyes were red. Ouch, hello. Seeing the squad leader looking like he was about to cry, Yu Ren hastily dropped the bag in his hand, and rushed to the bedside with a whoosh. He gently hugged the squad leader into his arms. This is not a dream, class monitor, touch me, it's warm. The squad leader wept with joy, but once again she felt the violent energy in her body fluctuate due to emotions. Crashing, she quickly tried to push Yi-Ren away, trying hard to suppress her emotions. First, stay away from me, or you will get hurt. The fool curse. Sure enough, it hasn't been eliminated. The squad leader's good mood slowly dissipated, and if she didn't get rid of the supernatural ability, she would never be able to gain real freedom. Don't hold back, let it go. Yi-Ren kissed her. And through guidance, he gathered the violent, 633, energy in the squad leader's body to his side. Not only that, Yi-Ren found the cyclone in his body. It actually abducted into the squad leader's body, which shocked him. Gas this kind of thing. Free in every corner of the universe. After capturing and controlling Chi, warriors put it in their body and continue to fight it. Coiled and coiled, the warrior controls the Chi. For example, in the 4th stage of Kaiyang control of soldiers, the warrior takes the gas plate out of the body, covers the weapon, and makes it like an arm. Then to the 5th stage of Yuang, Chi can be controlled from the body, so that the driver can fly. But warriors generally don't let other people's Chi enter their own bodies. After all, his weak internal organs were slightly stirred by his anger. Oh shit, played GG amidst laughter. But at this moment, Yi-Ren didn't expect that his Chi would accidentally enter the squad leader's body. This one is not good. The squad leader will die instantly. However, what Yi-Ren didn't expect was that the gold cyclone had just entered a new territory. He fought with the violent energy in the monitor's body. And still had the upper hand. What is this? The class monitor also found out, her beautiful eyes widened in shock. You must know that she is almost expressionless at ordinary times. With such an expression on his face at this moment, one can imagine how terrified he was in his heart. It's my anger. Why gold? I can't make it. But there are too few gold cyclones, even after briefly suppressing the violent energy. It was quickly eaten away by more energy. But this scene. Let Yi-Ren have a bold idea. I seem to be able to suppress the violent energy in your body, let me try. Come on. The squad leader couldn't wait to grab Yi-Ren's clothes. Kissing. This time Yi-Ren unsparingly released all the gold cyclones that he had condensed so far. The gold cyclone is like a king descending. It entered the squad leader's body in a mighty way, and entwined with the violent energy. The gold cyclone clearly has the upper hand. In this way, the violent energy and the gold cyclone consumed each other, reaching a strange balance. Calculated based on the rate at which the gold cyclone consumes. It can last for at least 3 days. The squad leader blinked his beautiful big eyes in a daze. How could such a thing happen? Yi-Ren, how did you do it? It seems that I am your inhibitor. Yi-Ren grinned, and gently grabbed the monitor's small head and rubbed it against it. After a while, the squad leader was sure that this was true and that this was not a dream. As long as Yi-Ren is by my side, then I can cry, laugh, and live as normal. It was a dream come true. Squad leader, you have already died once to outsiders, so, from now on, you have been reborn. Yi-Ren stared at the squad leader's delicate little face. Now, time to tell me all about it. Call. The squad leader let out a sigh of relief. His eyes were shining, and a blush appeared on that cold and beautiful face. Tell you all about it. There is still plenty of time. Enough for 2 people to talk all night long. There was an organization that made and developed me, and in their eyes, I was a tool. The squad leader explained everything. As long as the monitor can remember, he has been forced to receive injections of inhibitors every month, and at the same time practice shielding his emotions. She has parents, although I don't know if they are biological. It's that organization again. Yi-Ren frowned. We must not let them find out that I am not dead, or else. Hear the monitor's words. Yi-Ren's heart skipped a beat. The squad leader still knows too little, but her parents must have known better. I bought roast duck, roast chicken and braised goose, let's have dinner first. After no stress. The squad leader wished he could stick to Yi-Ren. The big eyes are flickering. Obviously a cold face, but so clingy. I'm going out for a while, wait for me at home. Hear the word, home. The squad leader didn't know what he thought of. After a moment of stun, suddenly a lovely pink rose on the face. Those watery eyes looked at Yi Ren. Okay, I'll wait for you at home. Yi Ren glanced at the time before going out. It was 9:17. The night in City Y is beautiful. The nightlife is about to start, and the bar street is lit up with neon lights on the signboards. However, Yi Ren appeared in the quaint and old Who's martial arts gym. The vibe here is incompatible with other places. A wooden signboard hangs on the ceiling of the martial arts hall. The street lights not far away occasionally go out. There is a long river behind the martial arts hall, and weeds are overgrown nearby, and the crickets can still be heard. Sha Tian insects chirped continuously. Crunch. The iron door was originally locked, but the big rust-corroded lock was broken open by Yi Ren. The first floor is a spacious martial arts hall. The second floor is where people live. When Yi Ren walked into the venue and turned on the light switch, the cool-toned incandescent lamps illuminated the entire ground covered with straw mats. It seems that there is no one, but in fact, Yi Ren's eyes have already seen everything. Why don't you come and see the guests? Yi Ren looked towards the stairs. In the shadows, a middle-aged man in exercise clothes slowly appeared and walked down the stairs. Our martial arts school has not recruited people for a long time. He walked 5 meters away from Yi Ren. Stand with hands behind your back. It looks quite imposing. I'm here to ask you something. Should I salute first and then fight, or should I fight first and then salute? The eyes of the middle-aged man flickered. He said in a deep voice. Young man, don't be too young. Yi Ren grinned. If you are not young and energetic, you are still called a young man. The moment the voice fell, the middle-aged man stood up suddenly. His body weighing more than 120 kilograms was like a feather. Lightly grazing towards Yi Ren. He first slashed at Yi Ren's neck, and was dodged by Yi Ren sideways. Turn palms into claws. Grab Yi Ren's throat. This shot is a fatal trick. Stab. Yi Ren simply leaned back, and the clothes from the collar to the chest shattered. I found that the money to buy clothes every month is not a small expense. Yi Ren can still find time to say a few words. But the middle-aged man withdrew and retreated, jumping 4 or 5 meters back to his original position. His hands made a subtle gesture. Hu family Wu Xingquan, Hu Ping'an, boy, report your name. Look at him like that. Obviously serious. Yi Ren also clasped his fist slightly to salute, demonstrating his martial arts virtues. Yi Ren. In today's martial arts era where all people practice, most warriors will also learn some boxing, body, leg, and palm techniques. The most common is the regulation issued by the state. But some clans with heritage, or ancestors are talented and intelligent. A special legacy will be passed down. For example, Hu Ping'an, the Hu family Wu Liangquan was created by his great-great-great-grandfather. It is about a boxing method that combines reality, and leverages strength to strike strength. These special punches, it can greatly enhance the strength of warriors. For example, 2 common people, one can fight, and the other can't do anything, so in the case of the same physical fitness. Those who know martial arts will definitely push those who don't know anything to the ground and explode with hammers. This also applies to warriors. Warriors of the same rank have the same basic attributes, so just fight. Except, Hu Ping'an touched the ground with his right foot, spanned 3 meters away with a swoosh, and punched out from Yi Ren's supper. At the same time his body core moves down. This moment, Hu Ping'an has countless ways to retreat. If Yi Ren dodges, he can take advantage of the situation and use the other hand to cross the elbow. If Yi Ren blocks, he can use his knee to hit Yi Ren's lower abdomen. If he takes the initiative to attack, then he can borrow and dismantle his moves. However, boom, his fist landed heavily on Yi Ren's chin. At the same time, energy penetrates through the body. This moment, Hu Ping'an showed a shocked expression. You don't control your chi to resist. When fighters fight each other, both sides will condense their energy and cover the vulnerable places. This forms the defense layer. A high-level martial artist can cover his whole body with a thick layer of chi. A warrior with a low rank will either cover his weak points with chi, or take advantage of the powerful insights of agility. At the moment before the enemy is about to attack him, a large amount of chi is in the place to be attacked. But Hu Ping'an discovered that Yi Ren had no chi control at all to resist. His chi easily penetrated Yu Ren's jaw. Ah! After a moment of bewilderment, the severe pain made Hu Pingan react. My hand. Blood oozes from the knuckles. The shock force made his right hand tremble slightly, if it wasn't for the air covering the surface of the fist. The reaction force alone was enough to shatter his bones. Yu Ren let out a sneer. That's it. He didn't attack, but looked at Hu Pingan jokingly. Suddenly, I understood the feeling of a cat playing with a mouse. Look at weak enemies. He showed a horrified expression in front of himself. Slowly tease each other, until he is completely desperate and feels powerless from the bottom of his heart. What should I say? It's interesting. Hu Pingan stared at Yu Ren's eyes, not quite understanding why Yu Ren suddenly said something interesting. He was alert, panting. Physical cultivator. Guess. Out of the corner of Hu Ping's eyes, he glanced at the weapon rack by the wall. But he was more than 10 meters away from the thick wall, even if he was walking through the air. It also takes at least a second. You can go get the weapon, don't worry, I won't stop you. Hu Pingan gritted his teeth, and really jumped to the weapon rack. During this period, he guarded against Yu Ren's sneak attack. Unexpectedly, Yu Ren really didn't move. Madness. Hu Pingan pulled out a long knife from the weapon rack, and danced with the knife. Once let yourself get the weapon. That battle is over. Having weapons and not having weapons are completely different things. The reason why human beings become the overlords on this planet. The only reason. Humans are good at using tools. Hu family flaming knife. Hu Pingan let out a roar, urging his strength with his air, and using his air to control the blade of the knife was covered by a translucent cyclone. With a bang, when he swung the long knife, the blade glowed slightly red, as if a flame had been ignited. Die. Hu Pingan holds a knife in both hands, with a flexible body style coupled with an aggressive flaming knife. At first glance, the momentum is mighty. The blade strikes, Yu Ren dodges sideways. So fast, Hu Pingan's pupils shrunk slightly, and took advantage of the opportunity to receive an upward wipe after the slash. However, Yu Ren took a step back, and the blade slashed past the tip of his nose. Hu Pingan's heart tightened, dodged again. A long knife danced in Hu Pingan's hand, forming an afterimage, coupled with the faint red light. Pretty nice, however. How are you so fast? With such a high frequency of attacks, it can't even touch the corner of the opponent's clothes. Hu Pingan couldn't help becoming anxious. It's you who are too slow. Yu Ren took 2 steps back lightly, and looked at Hu Pingan playfully. The latter gritted his teeth and panted, his forehead covered with sweat. Tired, Yu Ren tilted his head, almost had enough. This should be regarded as his first serious fight with a warrior since he came to this world. How to say, warriors are really powerful, compared to common people. Hu Pingan's body is harder, faster, and more flexible. It is no exaggeration to say that he is this body. In his previous life, he was at least at the captain level of Country M. This is just physical enhancement. Coupled with his boxing and saber techniques, the threat index sword, the so-called martial arts. Isn't it the complete integration of skills and body? It's a pity, skills, in the face of absolute power. Nothing. With a bright fire, Hu Pingan jumped more than 3 meters high, gathered all the strength in his body, and pumped out 90% of his breath. Lie, flame, slash. This knife. He has done his best. The blade sliced through the air, cutting out flames out of thin air. With such an exaggerated speed blessing, the long knife landed on Yu Ren's shoulder accurately. Clank. Such a crisp sound. The blade became flying fragments in an instant, among the fragments. It reflected Hu Pingan's dull eyes. Patter. Hu Pingan fell to the ground, looking at the handle and half-cut blade in his hand, horrified. You. When the knife passed by, it failed to split Yu Ren in half, but broke the knife instead. Although this is not a peerless knife. But the chi that covers 90% of him is supposed to be invincible. Thank you for letting me confirm one thing. Yu Ren flicked the dust off his shoulders. There is a clear small white mark on the skin, but that's all. It seems that after the nuclear explosion today, once again, the body has changed by leaps and bounds. Sigh. Yu Ren appeared in front of Hu Pingan like a teleportation. Thank you for letting me realize. Compared to you warriors, I am far more powerful than you. The sound of breaking the air sounded. Hu Pingan was thrown out by Yu Ren. The speed is so fast that only a blurred line can be seen. Boom! A human-shaped pothole appeared on the thick wall, and the crack spread out from the center of the pothole. Hu Pingan trembled and slid off the wall. Puff! Spit out a mouthful of blood flowing upstream. He is a martial artist, and he clearly recognizes that his internal organs have received varying degrees of trauma. He could also feel every bone in his back screaming. Hu Pingan wanted to stand up, but his body swayed for a while. He fell to the ground with a snap. With just one blow from Yu Ren, he completely lost his ability to fight. Plus this serious injury. If he is not sent to the doctor, he will be completely cool in half an hour. Now, you still have a chance of surviving. I can help you hit 120. You just need to tell me something. Yu Ren squatted in front of Hu Pingan. The ability of clairvoyance allows him to see how bad Hu Pingan's body is. Cough cough cough. After Yu Ren opened his mouth to say something about walnut, Hu Pingan suddenly laughed miserably. He looked at Yu Ren mockingly while coughing up blood. You actually. For a tool. She is not a tool, she is my favorite person, tell me everything about you. Hu Pingan refused to say at first. It wasn't until Yu Ren made up his mind that he crushed his palm with one foot. That's right, it is the god of use to trample and rot into a puddle of meat. I don't want to torture you, it's too cruel and dark. I really hope you can cooperate. Hu Pingan is not afraid of death, but couldn't stand the excruciating pain. Especially when Yu Ren said that he would kill him slowly, he still spoke up. Stop, I'm telling you all. Hu Pingan was originally a martial artist with a fair appearance, but he became a third-level warrior at the age of 20. At the age of 30 he married a wife and had children. At the age of 35, his wife died of dystocia, and he joined the organization after being hit hard. And with the help of that organization, he broke through to the 4th stage of Kaiyang control boundary. That organization promises it will allow Hu Pingan to break through to the 5th stage Yuan control device before he is 50 years old. But the condition is that Hu Pingan must complete the task assigned by the organization. Cultivate weapons. Walnuts are disposable weapons made by that organization. She was supposed to be used in a special project, but she developed feelings and fell in love with. When it comes to this, Hu Pingan suddenly widened his eyes in horror. What's your name? He knows that Walnut is in love with a young man named Yu Ren, but doesn't know who he is. My name is Yu Ren. Hearing these 4 words, Hu Pingan opened his mouth wide in a daze, bleeding all over the floor. Go on. Quote, when Hu Pingan reported the change of Walnut to the organization changed the mission. Indicates that Walnut is no longer eligible to join that plan. Let her kill Chin Ran. Inhibitors have to be injected every month from the time Walnut was born. Hu Pingan said with difficulty. If the inhibitor is not injected, the energy in the Walnut body may explode at any time. When Walnut was young, for a while, Hu Pingan was away, and the inhibitor left for her was broken by a mistake. It was during that time that Yu Ren and Hu Dao had their first encounter. Although it was crossed over. But Yu Ren still remembers that he met Hu Dao in a martial arts gym. She crouched in the corner. Little one, very cute. During those 2 months, she didn't take any inhibitors. Just because there was no injection of inhibitors, her suppressed emotions were released for a short time. Sudden emotional awareness made the squad leader from childhood appear dull, incomprehensible, and moody. The other children don't play with her. He also said that she was a fool, and had brain problems, and they all excluded her. Only Yu Ren took the initiative to squat beside her and chat with her. What's your name? Walnut, Walnut, Walnut. Are you practicing martial arts here too? No. The young Yu Ren scratched his head, although he felt that the little loli in front of him was a little strange. But his kindness allowed him to continue chatting with her. During the 2 months when she was only emotionally aware, only Yu Ren was with her. Maybe that's why. Only then did the squad leader keep Yu Ren firmly in his heart. Later, Yu Ren was kicked out by the museum owner because he was an orphan, and the museum owner took him in just to see Yu Ren's talent. After discovering that Yu Ren's progress in martial arts training is not as good as other peers. Then Yu Ren was expelled. I won't come here anymore. Why? Because this is not my home. The little squad leader looked at the little Yu Ren. In the future, will we meet again? I have no idea. When we meet again, you have to call me by my name. My name is Hutao. Okay, Walnut, I remember. Who knows this difference? That's decades. Recalling this, Yi Ren finally understood why the class monitor insisted on calling her by her name. It turned out that when I was so young, I had promised her. Yi Ren lowered his head. Hu Pingan was still vomiting blood slowly. Looks like he's going to burp anytime. Inhibitors have side effects. After each suppression, the energy will be more difficult to control. At the same time, after injection, people's feelings will be shielded. It's also a means that organization uses to control the tools. She is dead. 3 days ago, she was injected with a concentrated inhibitor. When Hu Pingan said this, suddenly coughed out laughter. That inhibitor, after the effect ends, will make her completely lose control. In Hu Pingan's plan, the squad leader will assassinate Chinran, as long as she gets close to Chinran. Then Chinran will definitely die. Because the squad leader will end up blowing himself up no matter what. She is dead. Quote, hearing what Hu Pingan said, Yi Ren showed pity and sadness in his eyes. So, you also told that organization, is she dead? Certainly. That being the case, Yi Ren felt relieved. The last question, can her ability be eliminated? Yi Ren heard from the monitor tonight. As long as the final task is completed, Hu Pingan will give her a neutralizing agent. She will be able to get rid of the uncontrollable abilities and gain freedom. However, impossible. She is a tool made by that organization. Her abilities are inherent and will not be eliminated. Really, Yi Ren already guessed that Hu Pingan was deceiving the monitor. I have told you everything I know, kill me, and give me a good time. Unexpectedly, Yi Ren hit 120 in front of him. Hu Pingan. Yi Ren, it's not so easy to die. Yi Ren not only called 120, but also called the Forestry Bureau. A scum like you, death is too cheap for you, go to jail, and you can also experience the feeling of being deprived of your freedom. Hu Pingan has basically been abolished. He will drag his body and spend the rest of his life desperate and miserable in Modejiao prison. In that all-closed narrow prison. Go through the decades in despair. Die, that was just a moment, but sometimes being alive is much scarier than dying. In Hu Pingan's desperate eyes, Yi Ren rubbed his chin and muttered. There is another woman, right? Your wife, she's also from that organization. I can tell you where she is. Why? Okay, then she will get the same end price as you. Hear this sentence. Hu Pingan suddenly felt a little better inside. People are like this, they always want to drag others into the water when they cross themselves, and Hu Pingan doesn't have a good relationship with her. Soon, the Bureau of Forestry led people to surround the Hu family martial arts hall. After they came in cautiously, only Hu Pingan was found dying on the ground, and Yi Ren had disappeared. Then, it's time to visit the monitor's mother. Yi Ren's eyes turned cold, and he walked towards the bar street. Finishing this mess, I can leave City Y with the squad leader and go to the capital to enroll in Qinglong College. From now on, a new chapter in life begins. When Yi Ren came to the door of the Queen's Bar, he was stopped without any surprise. This bar is not open to the public. The guards at the gate were also 2 burly warriors, who wore sunglasses and shaved their heads at night. Please show your membership card. I don't. The 2 guards frowned subconsciously, and touched the short sticks around their waists. But with a bang, Yi Ren slammed his fist into the thick wall, creating a deep crater and flying gravel. Clatter. He withdrew his arm, and the 2 surrounded them stunned and swallowed. How much money do you make a month? 7,000. Is it worth risking your life for $7,000? Seeing Yi Ren's indifferent eyes, the 2 guards silently stepped aside and let the door open. Clever. Papa. Yi Ren walked towards the interior along the spiral staircase. And the 2 guards touched the hole in the wall. They looked at each other. Will there be any fatalities later? How about, call the police first. Report when you hear the screams. The ear-piercing sound made Yi Ren frown uncontrollably. He looked around, and there were dense crowds of human heads below. According to the information given by Hu Pingan, the woman is Zheng Yina, who used to live in Country M, and only returned to Dragon Country in recent years. On the stage, a burned-out stripper is dancing, wearing clothes that make Yi Ren sick. The audience is the screams of people, there are men and women. Snapped. With a sound of the whip, Jung Yi-na jumped onto the stage with an aggressive smile. After seeing the extremely hot Jung Yi-na in a leather jacket, the cheers and screams from the audience were even more outrageous. Queen, 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 they shouted. Carnival. At this time the music became louder, until Jung Yi-na waved the long whip again and danced an extremely hot dance on the stage. She used her hot body with protruding and backward curls to make people pick their heads. The atmosphere gradually reached a climax. It's so sad. Yi Ren looked coldly at the corpse being carried out. Jung Yi-na is a warrior and a supernatural being. This made her physical fitness far beyond ordinary people. She just hit the head, and killed a common man with a whip. For supernatural beings like them, accidentally can injure or even kill common people. And obviously, Jung Yi-na has no intention of restraining herself at all. She just likes the feeling of dominating everything, killing common people at will. It will only give her a morbid pleasure. Queen. Just a female neuropathy. Yi Ren didn't plan to read any more. He looked around the underground bar. So loud, please stop the music first. At this time, there were a few bangs from the DJ booth, and then the harsh and noisy music stopped abruptly. Everyone looked over there in bewilderment. Happiness is over, let's all go. Yi Ren casually threw DJ back, and the console in front of him was dismantled into pieces by him. Connected to the huge sound in front of him, it was also trampled through with one foot, and it was glowing with fire. Is this a new show? Oh. Once again and again. The people in the audience may not have figured out the situation yet. Actually cheered up, until Yi Ren threw a speaker as high as one person to Jung Yi-na on the stage, making a loud bang. The destructive power of terror wakes people up. They all screamed and fled outside. The guard at the door was about to call the police when he was knocked aside by the people who filed out. Soon, the bar became empty. Only Yi Ren stood at the DJ booth, and Jung Yi-na, who was standing on the deformed stage, met her eyes. Jung Yi-na looked puzzled. She thought about it for a long time, but she didn't remember where she offended a group of people like Yi. How much do you know about that organization? Hearing Yi Ren speak, Jung Yi-na's face changed. Almost in the blink of an eye, Jung Yi-na whipped Yi Ren CIAD in the head. She shot viciously. This whip flew along Yi Ren's eyes. It seems that we have to fight first and then salute again. Yi Ren grabbed the long whip with his backhand. Jung Yi-na tried hard, but instead of pulling Yi Ren, she staggered and almost fell. She widened her eyes slightly. Before she could say anything, Yi Ren raised her small hand, and Jung Yi-na seemed to be flying. With a whoosh, he was pulled over. Boom! With a muffled sound, Yi Ren grabbed her by the neck. Jung Yi-na retched instinctively and let out a choking sound. Sky, he has great strength. Suddenly Jung Yi-na's body fluctuated like a current of water. Yi Ren just felt his hand loosen. Jung Yi-na's neck and head turned into viscous liquid. It just slipped out of Yi Ren's palm. Interesting. She pulled back and flew back 2 or 3 meters, and her head returned to normal. So your ability is liquefy, die. Jung Yi-na swung her right hand and turned it into a thick and long whip. There was a crackling sound. The target was very insidious, and it actually aimed at Yi Ren's lower abdomen. She turned her body into a whip. Using speed to boost kinetic energy, this approach and fighting style is very smart. Because her body is soft enough and hard enough. If other warriors are attacked by her like this, then it is estimated that the internal organs will be injured and vomit a few mouthfuls of blood, but unfortunately, is Yi Ren another warrior? Snapped. Hiss. Jung Yi-na showed an expression of unbearable pain, and the hit was indeed a hit. But like lashing on steel. But it's not over yet. Her whip-like right hand actually wrapped around Yi Ren's right leg quickly. She will strangle Yi Ren. Jung Yi-na is really excellent. She makes full use of all her strengths. Maximize your combat power. The tough and soft but extremely powerful body can endow her with a strangulation ability far surpassing that of a giant python. She can even bend rebar. This kind of power can twist the fragile neck of human beings. Isn't it easy? You have a strong smell of bad perfume. Yi Ren's eyes were full of teasing. He casually grabbed the flesh wrapped around his neck and pulled it lightly. Crack. Ah! Jung Yi-na wailed in pain. Because Yi Ren actually tied her hand in a bow. Honestly, if Yi Ren didn't know how to do it, he still wanted to tie a difficult knot. But in the next second, Zheng Yina's right hand suddenly liquefied and drilled into Yi Ren's eyes. This is her killer move. It is omnipotent, drills the liquefied body into the enemy's body, and smashes the brain directly. However, after the liquefied body touched Yi Ren's eyes, she found out, I can't get in by myself. What about the nose? But Yi Ren breathed out from the nasal cavity, and the liquefied body scattered on the ground. What the hell are you trying to do? Zheng Yina looked at Yi Ren with an ugly expression. The viscous liquid on the ground seemed to be alive. While burrowing into the soles of her feet, her right arm grew out. I want to know all the news about that organization. Listen, I don't care what country you belong to, what organization you are. Zheng Yina stared into Yi Ren's eyes and whispered. We are an existence you can't afford to offend. If you provoke us, you are looking for your own death. To this, Yi Ren just shrugged. He appeared in front of Zheng Yina with a whoosh, looking down at her condescendingly. Your presence is a threat, and I don't like threats. After saying that, Yi Ren punched Zheng Yina on the head. He didn't hold back at all. This punch produced a sonic boom cloud, enough to smash human flesh and blood into pieces. On the nick of time, Zheng Yina's head turned into liquid, but the roof touched it instantly. Her head was directly smashed. Splashes all over the place. Wait a moment. After taking Yi Ren's punch abruptly, Zheng Yina was able to recover as before. But the expression on his face was not as relaxed as before. Fear, restless, shocked. What do you want to know? I'll tell you everything. Yi Ren gave her a fluttering look. Throwing her casually on the deck, there was a muffled bang, and Zheng Yina felt a little pain. Come on, let's talk. What do you want to know? All. Zheng Yina exhaled, and explained everything in detail when her life was threatened. She once participated in an experiment abroad. After injecting compound number 6, her body showed an uncontrollable tendency to liquefy. The experimenters threw her into the sewer. Unexpectedly, she was summoned at this time and joined that organization. Pull. Yi Ren frowned and raised his hand. Compound 6. Summoning. Yes. Yi Ren's face turned weird. Is this a coincidence? Compound number 6. Hee, I understand everything. As for calling, according to Zheng Yina, she turned into a puddle of liquid and could not control her situation. In desperation, I suddenly heard an inexplicable voice. The voice made a deal with her. I do things for organizations and they bring me back to normal. No, they make me better than ever. Zheng Yina pursed her lips. There was a frenzy in his eyes. She used to be far less beautiful than she is now, and her figure is even more common. At that time, with their help, Zheng Yina controlled the supernatural power and had the ability to reorganize the body at will. That organization is called Vestibule. They claim to be favored by the gods, and they are doing things for the great gods, and I am not qualified. So although Zheng Yina joined that organization, but in fact it is by no means the core staff. Actually, Hu Ping'an, like Zheng Yina, is considered a non-staff. The real core of that organization are the mysterious guys who call themselves the favored ones. What is your purpose? Purpose? Zheng Yina shook her head. She said that she only obeyed the orders of the gods. She came back to Longguo only to cultivate a tool. Unfortunately that tool has been scrapped, and has been sent by another person on a suicide mission. Very good. It seems that Zheng Yina also doesn't know that the class leader is still alive. Then, is there anyone in the vestibule in City Y? Also, how did you get in touch with the gods' favored one? I have no idea. Zheng Yina said that the gods can directly talk to her spiritually through some kind of telepathy. Secondly, she didn't know if there were any people in the vestibule in City Y. I told you everything, can you let me go? Walk. Yi Ren is happy. Don't force me to die with you, it's not good for everyone. Zheng Yina shrank her pupils and glared at Yi Ren viciously. The surface of her body liquefied, and then condensed into countless spikes. A guy like you, I dare not let go. Zheng Yina is different from Hu Ping'an. Hu Ping'an is just a warrior, but Zheng Yina's abilities are too uncontrollable. Yi Ren doesn't think Common's prison can hold her. Besides, Yi Ren wants to have fun with her. You forced me to do this. Let's see who can survive. Zheng Yina screamed. One dodges towards Yi Ren's side, taking advantage of his blind spot. The right hand is elongated and one side becomes sharp and sharp. Whipblade. Go to hell. However, Zheng Yina's all-out blow landed on Yi Ren's head with only a ding. A small white mark appeared on the skin. Actually, still not broken. Zheng Yina's breathing became rapid, and her soft body continued to reorganize into spikes, sharp blades, and heavy hammers. Yet these violent attacks, it was neither painful nor itchy for Yi Ren until he was under the attack of the wind and rain. He waved his fist towards Zheng Yina. Boom! A circle of white light flashed out, like a water polo bursting, and Zheng Yina splashed everywhere. Even if she can liquefy and recombine. But being broken up again and again like this also made her exhausted. Come again a few times. She may not have the chance to regroup again. Asshole. After the liquid condensed again, Zheng Yina did not return to normal, but kept a ball of liquid and moved towards Yi Ren quickly. Gulu gulu. She wanted to fight again and get into Yi Ren's body. However, Yi Ren clasped his hands together and clapped violently. The shock wave dispersed the liquid Zheng Yina again. No, she uttered a mournful cry. Zheng Yina's heart is undoubtedly desperate. She doesn't understand. It is completely impossible to understand what kind of ability this strange guy in front of him has. He's like, it seems that there is no weakness and it is invincible. Who are you? It does not matter. With a bang, Yi Ren appeared in front of the liquid Zheng Yina like a teleportation, and stepped on it. Puff! The water polo exploded again. The ground was stepped out of cracks and potholes, and the gravel rolled down and made a splashing sound. Ha! Yi Ren frowned. Zheng Yina actually disappeared. She did not reunite after liquid dispersion. Instead, they drilled out from various cracks, ventilation pipes, sewers, and mouse holes. Yi Ren narrowed his eyes, and all physical obstacles became transparent in his field of vision. After a few minutes, Zheng Yina got out of the sewer more than 10 kilometers away. Vomit. With a retching sound, she spat out a dead mouse from her stomach. This is the person she inadvertently swallowed into her body during the transfer. Old lady, I must kill that trash. Zheng Yina clutched her aching head. She barely stood up and left from the sewer mouth. The liquefaction ability was not invincible. It took her so many years to learn and take control. Only then can it wantonly liquefy itself and reorganize itself. But when Yi Ren came over with a fist, the instant burst of liquefaction was not so simple. It was hundreds of times harder to regroup in that state than usual. So much so that it came down several times. Zheng Yina felt that her energy had been exhausted and she might faint at any time. But, fortunately, I escaped that monster. Thinking of Yi Ren, Zheng Yina couldn't help showing a look of fear. Her now, where is the temperament of a queen? I've escaped so far, it should be fine, I need to find someone safe. Her voice stopped abruptly. A pair of pupils shrunk into the shape of 4 zeros and stared blankly ahead. Yo, we meet again. Yi Ren grinned and waved at her. Zheng Yina turned her head stiffly to look at the distance, then turned back to look at Yi Ren. You, how did you? Do you really think that you can be quiet? Under the ability of clairvoyance, Zheng Yina has nowhere to hide, and Yi Ren followed her all the way leisurely. Show. Hash. Zheng Yina suddenly fell to her knees in front of Yi Ren. She squatted down, lowered her head in an extremely humble manner, and presented a gesture of throwing herself to the ground. At the same time, her hot leather jacket slowly liquefied. In the end it became extremely cool. I have to say that she has a very good figure, so good that she can't pick out any flaws at all. Zheng Yina is about 1.78 meters tall. The ratio from head to waist, and from waist to toe is perfect 1:2. Such ratios are hard to see in reality. But only with such a proportion can one have such slender and beautiful legs. As you can see, my body is very malleable, please let me be your slave. As long as you can survive. It doesn't matter if you are a slave. Is Yi Ren tempted? Of course, who cannot be tempted by such a perfect stunner after all? But it's a pity. I've seen you hurt someone I love, and now I'm going to hurt you too. Zheng Yina's face turned white with just one swipe. She doesn't understand. He has already reached this point, why is he still so determined? Don't kill me, please, I'm willing to do anything you ask me to do. Call. Conventional means are difficult to kill Jung Yina. But freeze breath does. With the condensation sound of clicking, Jung Yina's desperate expression froze on her face. Then there was a bang. Yi Ren crushed her into icy scum all over the floor. It's a pity, it would be nice if you were a good person. The vigilant Yi Ren didn't just leave, but wait for the ice to melt. After confirming that Jung Yina was completely dead and there was no sign of reorganization, she was relieved. Looks really dead. He leaves satisfied. Just after he left, the liquid on the ground trembled slightly and condensed towards each other with difficulty. Condensed bit by bit. Finally, it converged into a small ball of liquid, which was Jung Yina's limit. She let out a hysterical cry from the bottom of her heart. But also very grateful. But who knows? I suddenly thought, why not just burn you with a fire? Right. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. That guy. Why is that guy's back? Yi Ren grinned and took out a lighter, under Jung Yina's desperate curse. Incinerate it into a pinch of coke. Done and call it a day. Yi Ren clapped his hands and left the wasteland with peace of mind. The squad leader sat on the sofa in the living room, looking at the wall clock and the gate from time to time. Look at the way she is sitting upright. Looks a little anxious. It's almost 10 o'clock. She is very worried. At this time, Yi Ren just came back, after hearing the squad leaders murmur outside. Instinctively use clairvoyance to scan. Crack. After opening the door, the anxiety in the monitor's eyes slowly dissipated, and he returned to his usual cold appearance. I bought a midnight snack, come and eat some. For Yi Ren, no matter how many times you look at the squad leader, no matter from which angle you look at it. She is always so cute. On the surface, it is cold and indifferent, but in fact it will blush easily. Like now. You, don't stare at me, Will. Got shy. Maybe it was to hide his embarrassment. The squad leader lowered his eyes slightly. The slender fingers grabbed the bamboo skewer and stuffed it into Yi Ren's mouth precisely. Squad leader, why don't you ask, what did I do at night? She is obviously curious, but has been patient. I'm going to kill those two beasts that hurt you. Yi Ren said briefly. The squad leader was stunned for a while, and she tilted her head slightly after a long while. A pair of big moist eyes stared straight at Yi Ren. Why are you so good? I said long ago that I am very powerful, but you have not believed it. Yi Ren rolled his eyes. Please, Kryptonian blood, this place, maybe there is no kryptonite in this universe. As long as the energy is absorbed enough. In the later stage, I go to take a bath in the sun by myself, and that is truly invincible. Thanks. Thank you for telling me, it's very kind of you. Unknowingly, supper has been almost wiped out by the two of them. At the corner of the squad leader's mouth, there was still a bit of Red's chili oil, which she hadn't noticed yet. Do not move. Yi Ren gently wiped it off with his fingers. He looks at her. She was breathing slightly short of breath. A bewildered blush appeared on that cold little face. I said monitor. Call me by name. I said walnut. What is the relationship between us now? The squad leader stepped forward lightly and answered Yi Ren with actions. Squad leader, could you please call me by my name? With such an atmosphere, Yi Ren could still call it wrong. Even the squad leader was a little annoyed. But she has a cold temper. Even when angry, there is a lovely energy. Then, I'll book a plane ticket, let's go to the capital in days tomorrow. Do you have any money? How much is the air ticket? I have saved a little, and I will give it all to you. Yi Ren was stunned. This girl is really. If you don't marry and go home, your brain will be struck by lightning. How can there be such a good girl in the world? Squad leader, I really love you. Well, Changyi was long, it was supposed to be a scarlet night, but Yi Ren's cell phone rang at this time. Yi Ren had no choice but to pick up the phone impatiently, and subconsciously swiped. Yi Ren, are you all right? Yi Ren's expression froze, and he accidentally connected the video call, and on the other end was Chin Ran with a worried face. He quickly turned around and carefully moved the squad leader out of the range of the camera. Yi Ren, are you still sad because of Sister Walnut? I was a little worried about you, so I. Cough, it's okay, I'm not sad at all. Really, don't hold on, I will be with you, Yi Ren. When saying this sentence, Chin Ran also felt a little shy and nervous. Through the screen, Yi-Ren could see Qin-Ran's room, the blue and white walls. Neat bookshelves. There are some cute little ornaments on the desk, and there are several unopened blind boxes. Many storage boxes are arranged side by side in an orderly manner. Certainly, none of this matters. The important thing is that Qin-Ran was wearing a nightdress. Blue's long hair, which seemed to have just been blown dry, was falling behind her. Qin-Ran sat on the bed in a duck-sitting position, holding the tablet in both hands. Blue's eyes reflected Yi-Ren's shadow. Although Sister Hutao is gone. But you must not get depressed and spit out the factory. I don't. You must be in pain right now. It would be great if I could share it with you. Yi-Ren opened his mouth with a complicated expression. Out of the corner of his eye, he subconsciously glanced at the expressionless squad leader. She was looking as if she had something to say. Of course, Yi-Ren, don't get me wrong, we are friends, right? It's normal for friends to care about each other, right? Dry laugh. Yi-Ren didn't know what to say for a moment. He had to change the subject clumsily. Why do you have long hair? When meeting Qin-Ran for the first time, Yi-Ren remembered Qin-Ran's short, agile hair, coupled with her quirky and big blue eyes. The whole person is very lively and lovely. But now, after Qin-Ran turned into waterfall hair, her temperament changed from youthful and lively to mature and steady. The brow furrowed slightly with worry. It also made her less innocent and more feminine. Isn't it pretty? Qin-Ran asked back. The long hair grew by herself when she was fully stimulating the power of her blood. Just like when Dr. Lan used the power of blood, his hands would be covered with deformed growths. It is a side effect of using blood power. The reason why she has this long hair is just to look more like a monitor. Qin-Ran was still too naive. She couldn't think of any other way, so she had to try to make herself more like a walnut. Maybe so when Yi-Ren saw her. The pain in your heart will feel better. Certainly. The above are just her own thoughts, at this time Yi-Ren said with a babble. I think you are still as good looking as before, much cuter than now. Qin-Ran pursed her lips. She wanted to say something more, but Yi-Ren yawned deliberately. I'm sleepy, let's talk tomorrow. Well, if you still feel uncomfortable, you can talk to me or something. Yi-Ren hummed casually and hung up the phone. It's not that he deliberately perfunctory. Instead, he heard the squad leader's breathing becoming a little short, through these subtle changes. Yi-Ren sensed that the monitor might not be in a good mood. She cares about you. Oh, what a sour tone. I don't. There was no change on the squad leader's cold face, but the movement of turning his head away seemed a little strained. How to say, it's kinda cute. Yi-Ren came over and ruined the monitor's little head. Don't think too much, I have no feelings for her. But she seems to like you. Not necessarily. Didn't she say that they are just friends? Seeing that you are dead, come and care about me. The squad leader pursed his lips slightly, then gently put his head on Yi-Ren's chest. She closes her eyes. The wrist wrapped around Yi-Ren's waist. A muffled voice came from Yi-Ren's chest. Hug me. There was nothing to say all night, and the two embraced each other to sleep, very peaceful. Why is there no subtle story happening? Because Yi-Ren has a wicked heart but no guts. Although he was human in 2 lifetimes, Yi-Ren came here before he had a girlfriend in his previous life. If the squad leader didn't take the initiative, Yi-Ren wouldn't dare to attack rashly. But, holding the squad leader's slender waist, Yi-Ren also slept soundly. Until the next morning. The squad leader woke up in Yi-Ren's arms, blinking her beautiful eyes. Sure enough, it's not a dream. Until now, she still has a feeling of unreality. Yi-Ren has already booked her flight ticket today. When the squad leader saw his more than 150 W in Karina, his whole body tensed up. Where did you get so much money? I made money. I killed several supernatural beings who were wanted abroad, and then I also worked part-time as Qin-Ran's bodyguard. Yi-Ren also pointed to his feet. Said that this big house is also in his own name, which shocked the squad leader again. She never thought about it. Yi-Ren, who is so low-key in class, is actually so powerful, far beyond everyone's imagination. Airport. Yi-Ren held the monitor's hand, and the two of them didn't bring any salutes. In the words of Yi-Ren, I'll buy it after I go over there, the luggage is so hard. However, just when Yi-Ren was full of anticipation of what the capital would be like, A large number of passers-by suddenly passed by. They were still holding signs in their hands, and they were all excited as if they had been given steroids. It's coming out, it's coming out. Ah, Master Tushan, I love you. I love you. Please sign me, Master Tushan. The girls screamed, and some even broke their voices, becoming harsh and shrill. Surrounded by them, a boy appeared wearing a mask and peaked cap, covering most of his face with sunglasses, and wrapped himself tightly. He has several bodyguards, trying to maintain order. Pull away all the fans who are trying to get close to young Master Tushan. Please, please step aside, please don't block me. He made a nervous sound. But those crazy fans ignored it and were still screaming. At this time, the squad leader suddenly made a suspicious voice. Is that Master Tushan? Do you know him? Yi Ren stared at the boy wrapped up by the girls, feeling confused for a while. He is a very popular star recently. The squad leader explained. It turned out that this celebrity named young Master Tushan suddenly became popular recently, and climbed to the peak of traffic in a very short period of time. To this, Yi Ren shrugged. I really don't understand why anyone would like it. The monitor declined to comment. I'm going to the bathroom. While Yi Ren was washing his hands in the toilet, he suddenly heard a strange noise behind him, accompanied by a faint exclamation. The fuman suddenly bounced open, and the shattered little lock flew to the side, and a delicate-looking young man fell out. Yi Ren took advantage of the situation to support him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The boy had long cream-colored hair, which was covered by a hat, much to Yi Ren's surprise. His eyeballs are actually vertical pupils. Ha, should have gotten rid of those fanatical fans. Little big brother, do you want to sign? The boy skillfully took out his pen, but saw Yi Ren looking at him with disgust. After being stunned for a moment, the boy seemed to understand that the person in front of him was not his fan. He scratched his head in embarrassment. Sorry. Before, well, can I go then? I didn't detain you again. Yi Ren looked puzzled. Is there anything wrong with this guy? The boy breathed a sigh of relief, and hurried away from Yi Ren. Yi Ren shrugged his nose. Return. Very fragrant. Yi Ren was stunned, and then turned around and couldn't help complaining to the monitor. I just met that young Master Tushan in the toilet. Good girl, he still wears perfume. The squad leader blinked his big eyes cutely. There was a touch of sweetness on her cold face. She took Yi Ren's hand. We can't go to the capital. Quote. Just now there was a notice from the airport that the captain of the capital is undergoing emergency maintenance, and it is expected to open only the day after tomorrow. The ticket was also automatically rebooked to the flight the day after tomorrow. As well as, look at that. The squad leader stretched out his slender fingers and pointed at the billboard in the airport hall. Fox words, Master Tushan's concert. The squad leader nodded. Only then did Yi Ren understand why the big star came to City Y, and it turned out that he was here to make money. Let's go, we seem to have to go back and wait for the flight the day after tomorrow. The house given by the Special Administration Bureau is very large. The squad leader has plenty of space to practice martial arts and boxing, control chi and keep fit. She is quite strange. You don't practice martial arts. For martial artists, practicing martial arts means persistence and repetition for decades. But Yi Ren is not. He lay lazily on the balcony. I'm also practicing. The squad leader shook her head, only when Yi Ren was being lazy, after she realized that Yi Ren was better than herself. Practice harder and harder. Continuously capture chi, hover in the body, and manipulate it. Yi Ren's temperament is very lazy. He will easily suffer in the future. I must have the strength to protect him. Every time I think of it. The squad leader pursed his lips and ignited infinite fighting spirit. 4. Work hard to protect Yi Ren. Jingle bell W. Yi Ren's phone rang, but this time he didn't swipe it directly, fearing that it was another video call from Qin Guo. But look at the name. Is it the Forestry Bureau? Hey, Xiaoyi, I'm Lin Ju Crocodile. Lin Bureau, what can I do for you? There was a pause there, as if hesitating, and after a while, Director Lin said. The matter about Hu Dao, we have already found out through Hu Ping'an that she was coerced. She is not a bad person, and we feel sorry for her sacrifice. I am sorry, Yi Ren. Bureau Lin's sincere apology made Yi Ren's expression lighten a little. We're still looking for her body, just in case. I mean just in case, if she does survive, I'll let you know right away. I heard the Forest Bureau say so. Yi Ren also had some feelings. After some comfort from Bureau Lin, he finally got down to business. There's a job. Xiao Yi, do you want to take it? What's the matter? It's still a part-time bodyguard, but only tomorrow, but only 10,000. Yi Ren glanced back at the monitor. Although I still have a little savings, I heard that consumption in the capital is very high. If you can get money, let's get more. Earning 10,000 a day is not a lot. I take it, who do I want to protect? The dilemma. If you have time, come to the special department and I will introduce him to you. After hanging up the phone, Yi Ren told the squad leader what the Bureau of Forestry said just now. Will there be any danger? The squad leader was a little worried. But seeing Yi Ren use one finger to easily stop the coffee table on the fingertips and turn it around a few times, the squad leader silently clenched his fists. Soon, when Yi Ren came to the special bureau, the officers who had a good relationship with him before all lowered their heads at this moment. Even among these people, Yi Ren also saw the sniper who shot and killed the squad leader. But when he found Yi Ren coming, he immediately buried his head in front of the computer nervously. Pretend to work hard. By the way, on his screen is a video of a foreigner shooting a target, and it is also a sniper rifle. Xiao Yi is here, sit down for a while, he should be here soon. It's a coincidence. Just as Yi Ren's front foot arrived, the other party unexpectedly came to the special office at this time. He wears sunglasses and a face mask, with strands of cream-colored hair poking out from under a cap. It's you. He recognized Yi Ren immediately. Oh, you guys know each other. That's even better. Yi Ren, he is your employer. Yi Ren's expression became weird. This fool is a big star. Is it your employer? My task tomorrow is to protect him, right? What time is it? To be precise, it starts from tonight and ends tomorrow night. The boy smiled cautiously. He took off his mask and shook hands with Yi Ren. Then, I'll leave it to you. After all, I've just entered the Yaoguang stepping space realm. Yi Ren lightly shook hands with him. The guy's hand. Very small. It's a full circle smaller than your own palm. And it's soft, even cold. Yi Ren couldn't help but complained in his heart again. Quote opening parenthesis. Why is this kind of guy so hot? But the only thing that makes Yi Ren feel good is that this young man doesn't have the airs of a star, and he doesn't look domineering like Yi Ren imagined. On the contrary, he seemed tense, and his eyes stared at himself from time to time. Sit down, aren't you tired from standing? Yi Ren said casually. After all, he is his employer and the one who gives him money. The attitude still needs to be expressed. Unexpectedly, the boy actually replied nervously immediately. Okay, I'll sit right now. Yi Ren made a question mark slowly, while the boy sat down on the sofa cautiously, then bowed his head without saying a word. Yi Ren couldn't help shaking his head. This young Master Tu Shan is really strange, is it obvious? Drink water. Yes, thank you. Don't be so nervous, I won't eat you again. Sorry, I'm just used to being ordered. Yi Ren froze. Did you hear something you shouldn't have heard? And the young man, Zhao Diz, seemed to realize his slip of the tongue, so he quickly shut up and stopped talking. In a while, Tu Shan Jui will go to the rehearsal at the open-air martial arts hall in the city center, and then the official performance tomorrow afternoon, and leave City Y the day after tomorrow. Forest Bureau explained the details to Yi Ren. From the moment Master Tu Shan went to the rehearsal, Yi Ren had to follow him to protect his safety. Generally speaking, there won't be any accidents, at most some stronger fans will come out. But you can't take it lightly. For a person in the spotlight like him, there are people who want his life all the time. Yi Ren nodded in understanding. After he called the squad leader to explain the situation, he followed the boy and prepared to go to the rehearsal. What should I call you? Yi Ren. Then, Yi Big Brother, I'll leave it to you. Yi Ren shuddered. What is the name of Yi Big Brother? He was about to say something, but he watched the boy flip over his backpack in a hurry. Why not? I put it in, cold. What are you looking for? Yi Ren saw young Master Tu Shan's flustered expression, even anxious as if he was about to cry. All right, who made him a money-paying employer? Help if you can. My medicine. Yi Ren's eyes were fixed, and his perspective ability was activated. He bent down and picked up a small bottle from under the car seat. This. Yes. Thank you. Tu Shanjui almost hurriedly opened the medicine bottle, without drinking water, just swallowed 2 pills. Only then did his mood slowly return to calm. Then he looked at Yi Ren with apologetic eyes. Sorry, I have to eat this to stay alive. By the way, when we go to rehearsal, Tu Shanjui told Yi Ren. He will meet his agent, who is also his cousin, during the rehearsal later. Tu Shan Yajun. Brother Yajun's temper is not very good. If he offends you, please don't get angry with him. The boy said cautiously. For this reason, he took out his mobile phone and said that he can add money to Yi Ren, but he must not conflict with Tu Shan Yajun. Decide as things go. Yi Ren neither agreed nor refused. Soon the car drove to the open-air martial arts hall, where a huge stage had been set up. In normal times, this martial arts hall is basically used for various large-scale performances, as well as some important speeches and sports. As soon as Yi Ren got out of the car, he saw a muscular young man with yellow hair walking towards him with a serious face. Brother Yajun, where are you going? Didn't I tell you not to run around? As soon as they met, Tu Shan Yajun yelled at Tu Shanjui. His manager is more vicious than the owner. Tu Shanjui lowered his head and did not dare to speak, but at this time the agent and cousin turned his attention to Yi Ren. What? Bodyguards? After learning that Yi Ren is a part-time bodyguard for Tu Shanjui, he was even more furious. Looking at Tu Shanjui with a fierce look on his face, he asked. Why, are you worried that I will protect you? You even found an extra guy. I'm looking at Brother Yajun, you're too busy. Seeing Tu Shanjui's aggrieved face, Yi Ren clapped his hands and walked forward. He pulled Tu Shan Yajun away from the boy with a cold face. You scare my employer. Ha! Blue veins appeared on Tu Shan Yajun's forehead. He pushed his hands towards Yi Ren's chest, but when there was a clatter, Yi Ren didn't move at all, but he staggered backward. Quote. He froze for a moment. Then with an annoyed expression. Who do you have? Yi Ren looked down at Tu Shan Yajun condescendingly. He stepped forward and pinched Tu Shan Yajun's shoulder, and said in a calm and serious tone. You'd better keep your mouth clean, understand? With a slight force in his hand. A pained expression appeared on Tu Shan Yajun's face, and cold sweat dripped from his forehead. It feels like the bones in my shoulder are about to crack. At this moment, Tu Shan Yajun realized that he was not Yi Ren's opponent. But he desperately wanted to save face and refused to beg for mercy. In the end, Tu Shanjui tugged at the corner of Yi Ren's clothes, and said beseechingly. Please let go of Brother Yajun, Yi big brother. Only then did Yi Ren let go. And Tu Shan Yajun held his shoulders and kept gasping for air, his whole arm was trembling. Hell, he is a descendant of the Tushan clan. Moreover, a warrior who was already in the 3rd stage of Yaobuang stepping into the air, was almost screamed out by this guy in front of him with one hand. Tu Shan Yajun was both angry and fearful. The rehearsal went well, and Yi Ren was slightly surprised by Tu Shanjui's performance on stage wearing a headset. He thought this was a naughty boy. Not much real material at all. I didn't expect to sing very nicely, with an ethereal and soft voice, and a flexible body. Yi Ren looked at Tu Shanjui in a daze. Perspective ability activated. Tu Shanjui's skeleton is much smaller than normal people, and he always feels that something is not right. It's not enough, bring out your best form. Yes, Brother Yajun. On the contrary, Tu Shan Yajun, the manager and cousin, always scolded him with a sullen face. Tu Shanjui was forced to repeat it over and over again. Until exhaustion. How can you perform tomorrow in such a state? Give me a few more times. But Brother Yajun, I really have no energy. The physical strength of warriors far exceeds that of ordinary people, but Tu Shanjui's singing and dancing need to control qi. Such a high-intensity rehearsal has lasted for several hours. He was really exhausted. Didn't you hear me? Say it a few more times. Have a rest. Yi Ren pushed Tu Shan Yajun away from behind. This rough action made him stagger. Even so, Shan Yajun only dared to stare angrily. He clenched his fists but dared not resist. because he just saw Yi Ren pick up the huge stereo in the front row with one hand and put it aside. What strange power. You must know that stage construction requires the use of large equipment such as cranes to move. But Yi Ren is like placing blocks. He casually moved the things he saw in the way aside. Drink and rest for a while. Thanks. Tu Shanjui palely accepted the farmer Sangquan from Yi Ren. He wiped the sweat off his face, showing a naive smile. Thank you, Yi big brother. Don't disgust me, just call me by my name. All right. Tu Shanjui pursed his lips, his vertical pupils peeked at Yi Ren's profile from time to time. Speaking of which, a big star like you should make a lot of money, right? Brother Yajun said, tomorrow's concert should be several $1 million. Hearing this number, Yi Ren couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Good guy. Robbing a bank is not as quick as getting money. How much can you take? I have no money. All the income is managed by Brother Yajun, and then handed over to the family for operation. Yi Ren couldn't help being surprised when he heard this answer. After learning that Tu Shanjui, the income he can control is only 3,000. It's been a long time since I bought clothes I like. Yi Ren lives in Bangbu. Aren't you too frustrated, Star? I want to change my phone. The screen has been broken for a long time, but... Tu Shanjui showed Yi Ren his phone bitterly. It's a machine from several years ago. The screen is terrible, but there is still a cute little fox showing off its cuteness. You old man with a wallpaper like this. Yi Ren sighed, and looked at Tu Shanjui with pity. At this moment, Tu Shan Yajun walked over with an uneasy expression. Jui, someone at home is looking for you. Tu Shanjui went to the side with his mobile phone, but when he came back, it was a pair of eyes. The appearance of being devastated. You, adjust your mood, don't affect tomorrow's concert. Brother Yajun, my mother really. Tu Shanjui's voice trembled, with a crying tone. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.